Morning, Ken.
Good morning. How you been?
Pretty good. Man, happy Thursday. It is Thursday.
I think so. I'm already losing track.
Hey, when you guys look at space, I see like this little square box. Does everybody else see this too?
I'm not seeing one per se, but um,
Yeah, next to everybody's name, there's like a blank square box.
oh no, I'm not seeing that.
Tell you what, I actually took a picture of it. I'm gonna post. Anybody else seen this? Very weird. Don't know. I go away for a couple days and boom.
I hear you. It's been so crazy here that I've literally been working nonstop to the point that I haven't been able to keep up track of stuff happening politically.
Oh, hey, there's a few things. Hey, have you guys seen the commercial for the Texas Stock Exchange? I put the post in the pill, and we knew it was coming. It's pretty cool. They got a Longhorn, and they smashed the gold bull up there on the market. Pretty neat. Pretty good commercial. Good. You know, whoever put that together, they had their act together.
Hey Marlon, what is it with this space here? Why are all these little squares next to everybody's names?
Okay, so you see the same thing, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what is that? Are we being marked?
I don't know. Some people have it, like the storm down there. You don't have a clear little box next to your name. Um, Mostly everybody else does. So I posted in the pill. Maybe it's just Android thing.
That's what I was getting ready to ask. If what Marlon and Julie, what do you guys use? Is it Android or iPhone? I'm on iPhone.
I'm an Android. I'm wondering if it's because this is part of your AXL instead of you having just your own space, opening up your own space.
When I did the space on Tuesday, it wasn't there.
And were you under American X Live or were you under your just Marlin?
Um. Yeah. I opened it up underneath the community. Is that what you mean?
You under maybe because the communities are going away. Is that maybe why tinfoil?
It's possible. It's very possible. It does look like from the screenshot, um it's almost like a checkbox. Like you're gonna check on someone or
Well, I thought there was this other badge thing coming out. Maybe they're making room inside the Android platform for these badges. You know, these thinking badges.
Is this like phone to computer related? Because when I'm on my phone, I can guarantee you it looks a lot different. But when I'm on my computer right now, I'm looking at the space. I can't tell even a lick of what you guys are talking about, but I have a feeling you guys are talking about something that is actually real.
Well, that's funny you're saying that, Alpha, because you're if you're on the computer, I'm not seeing the square with you. So maybe it is just people that are using their phone.
No, you're right. Here I am, a speaker, and I don't even have I see the square on your guys' icons. It's like a double
Yeah, you
icon
don't
square.
Alpha. You don't have one.
I don't have one.
Next to your name. Nope. And the Storm, Kristen down there, they don't have a square box either.
Interesting. Yeah, and I'm on computer, and I might be obviously the only one.
No, nope. So again, maybe it's the Android thing. It may be face they're making for those. They're supposed to come out with these badges or something. I don't know. Some people have them, some people don't.
I do think most people on X are on their phone, so it very much makes sense that Marlon, host, and Julie, and American, and Tinfoil, and everybody who follows me, and I follow you back, and there's I've got a lot of followers in this space, and they all have the same icon that I don't have, and I might be just like the single person on the computer. I should just go on my phone. I should do. You know what should I do? You know what I should do? I should leave, come back on my phone, and just see if I have that fucking icon, because that's so interesting.
Yeah, Alpha, yo, man, I'm glad to have you jump into space and all. The only thing we don't do is drop the F-bomb in here. It's all good, no problem. If Elon himself came in, I'd call him out, bro.
Sorry, yeah, I got the mouth of a sailor. I'll stop that. But I'm tempted.
So
I'm gonna log in on my phone. I'm gonna rejoin your space on my phone.
Yeah, try. Yeah, see what happens. Hey, Goats, what it is, man? How you doing?
Good morning, Marlon. How the heck are we this morning?
We're doing good. We're doing good. The warm water's creeping up the coast here. The offshore thing here will be happening soon. So I'm looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. It's raining and cold here this morning.
Yeah, same thing here. Cold. But Julie, what's the temperature up there?
It's like 6 degrees, Marlon. It's ridiculous.
Yo, it
In
was
the
97 here yesterday.
Saturday's only supposed to be 50, Marlon.
I got
Yeah,
56 right now, Julie. 56.
And Coach, did you have a good heavy thunderstorm come through last night? I mean, we did, but we didn't get much rain out of it. I can tell you that.
No, like Somerville did, Marlon, and all that area got it really bad.
We've had 2 days of it. We got flooding here and everything. I had to go on a road trip for work yesterday, and the storm woke me up at about 2:00 in the morning, and my power was out and my phone was dead, and I was so paranoid I wouldn't wake up to go on this road trip that I couldn't go back to sleep. So, oh my God, I'm tired.
All right,
Oh,
what do you
that's
guys
funny.
think?
You don't have it, Alpha. I don't know. Clueless.
Whoa, even on my phone, I don't. Okay, so
Oh.
I'm not on an Android. I'm on an iPhone. Maybe that's like the worst test ever. Maybe if it's like you're on a computer or an iPhone, you don't get it. You got to be on an Android to get it. Are all of you guys actually on Androids?
No. Well, Tinfoil's got a mark next to him. He's Apple. Okay, Tin.
Then it doesn't make any sense. Am I just so premium that I'm like way beyond you guys?
Go ahead, Tin, and we'll go back to Goat.
So yeah, we had storms down here in southern Indiana that was so bad over the weekend that when I came in, we found out that a switch over the county building keeled over, and we had to get that one out and a replacement sent. And we finally got the replacement in. I was very happy that Fortinet really sent a replacement as quick as they did. But yeah, it's been weird around here with the weather. It's just been very electrical.
Well, this is a typical Memorial Day weekend coming up for Jersey. It's either 95 or it's cold and rainy. And I think it's supposed to rain here between now and every day till Monday. It sounds like Sunday we'll get a little bit of a break. Yeah, we're supposed to get poured.
Yeah, it's typical. It's okay. Let it be crappy this weekend. I have to work. Sorry, guys that don't have to work, but I do. And yeah, but that's all right. The following weekend is what I want it to be nice because I'll be camping all weekend for the Crawfish Festival, which is a festival that's so great. I love it. I haven't been to it in the last couple of years because I've had to work. But we camp out for 3 nights. It's music. It's Michael Arnone comes from Louisiana. And years ago in the 90s, when he worked for the electric company, he was up here doing, he was, sent up here to do a lot of work, and he was homesick. So he started crawfish boils. And it was such a hit that he just expanded it. And if you know about the French Quarter Fest, which I'm sure if Gypsy was in here, she'd know about it. It's a 3-day festival that they hold in New Orleans, or maybe a 2-day festival.
Nolens.
Yeah, and it's 20 stages, and it's all local musicians. It's just a great thing, and it supports the local musicians from the area, and gets them known, gets them platformed, and all that stuff. So Michael Arnone did the same thing. He came here to New Jersey and at our Sussex Fairgrounds in Augusta, and he does 3 stages. Well, now we're down to 2 stages, but he does, and he brings all local musicians in from New Orleans, and they all perform all weekend, and it's just a lot of fun. So
Nolens.
I cannot say that I've ever been to a crawfish boil. Now I've been to a crab boil, but I've never been to a crawfish boil. I didn't even realize they had them here in Jersey. I mean, they catch crawfish here, not like down in Louisiana. There's little itty bitty thing.
I used to never eat crawfish. I had a pet raccoon that used to catch the crawfish and eat them, and I was like, they look like giant fleas. But now that I've tasted boiled crawfish with the spices and stuff, you will never. Oh, it's so good.
It's kind of like shrimp, but it's like, you got to have butter with your shrimp. When you have those Cajun spices, it just hits different.
Well,
like
yeah, I get it. I mean, where we have, obviously Maryland crab spices that influence our diet here, and crab cakes, and I think this is more of a centralized thing, as far as crawfish. But that's I've never been to one. I'd like to taste it. I hear it tastes like shrimp. But
yeah, it's very similar. It's not like eating a cockroach. It's literally so close to fish and shrimp that even though they look totally different, like a shrimp head, in sushi, they actually eat the shrimp head and it's like fried and crispy. Crawfish.
Sushi, wait a minute. Hold on, Alpha.
Yeah.
You can't eat sushi like I can never eat sushi. Okay.
Nihongo ga harasu desu ka?
Yeah. Hold on, Alpha. So I'm a big fisherman. There's a lot of guys who love ceviche, and they love all of it, right? I can't stand
You
any
can't
of it,
leave
right?
yourself to even have
listen, dude,
salmon.
Alpha, hold on. So I go to a sushi restaurant, and I'll tell you what, in Costa Rica, there's a really good one, they say. I don't know. Maybe I can get down a lobster roll or something like that. But when I would go there,
that just means you're too timid.
I would order a teriyaki steak or something, and I just felt like when I was eating it, I was eating the bait, and so no thanks. That's not. And when
it's beautiful.
When people realize when they eat raw fish, you're much more susceptible to parasites. Right?
Yeah, and that's why the Japanese, I don't know if you know the history of it, but that's why the Japanese have ginger wasabi. Because it kills those.
Hold on, Alpha.
Over Marlon, please.
Yeah. Yo, brother, I don't get to run too many spaces. It's all good. Alpha, I'm glad to have you join in. It's just, it's not a spitball kind of space. There's a couple of subjects we're going to roll through. But sushi is definitely. I won't go to a sushi restaurant. I can't even stand to eat tuna fish that's a day old. So a little bit of a snob with it, no doubt about that. I've changed a little bit though, but no sushi. Wow, how you doing, man? Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. I met this guy back in the 80s and 90s, and he was an artist, and he bought like a half of a city block. I don't know where he got his money, but he would have a crawdaddy. We called them crawdaddies, And Julie, you'll love the band that used to play there. They were called the Moldy Figs. And it was he did it once a year. It was a great time.
You know, I like the celebration of it. Crab boils, you know, I've been, you know, I've commercial crabbed in the past. You know, people talk about crabbing. I can't crab. I can't go crab and catch one crab at a right. I'm totally spoiled. We used to have 100 traps. We used to tend them every day when we sell them. And I'd have to get the bait and blah, 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 blah. But I couldn't go and like, you know, the people with the piece of chicken or they got something they're you know, over the dock, they're catching one at a time, dude. I could never. I wouldn't have the patience for that. No shot.
So, what is your love and joy? What is your cup of tea? If we're to relate with you,
Well, Alpha, so it's funny. You know, a lot of people I've always asked my wife, there's two things in my life that I love more, not, I'm sorry, that I love along with my wife, right? Is really hunting and fishing. And there's not too many spots I haven't been to, right? I've been involved with fishing teams all around the planet, right? Fished with Purdue, fished with NASCAR, fished with all kinds of people, got exposed to the top 1%. Can I tell you that? Because
so
the
you're a
average
Bass
person
Pro kind of
could never-
guy.
Yeah, the average person could never afford to do this sport marlin fishing, bill fishing type, right? When you're doing this, you're running rigs that are 50, 60, 70 foot long. You know, you're talking about 180, 200, 250 gallons an hour. You know,
Oh my God, like semi-pro.
So there's a lot of people that hey, I know all over the planet. There's a woman who comes in here and she's from New Zealand, and there's a spot down there in church that I know some guys that fish out of New Zealand. They fish for black marlins and blue marlins, and I always wanted to go there. So my reach goes from here all the way to New Zealand with people that have experienced this one percenters, mates and captains that I've met throughout my life. Most of the guys in Marlin Magazine, I've met most of them, fished with a lot of them, and just had a lot of experience. Now, the other love in my life, besides my wife, is, hey, hunting. I've been just about every province in Canada. Killed elk in New Mexico. Hunted deer all around the country. There's a couple states I haven't been to. But those relationships that I've made with these people, really, probably one of my most loved, and I think it was a jaw-dropping trip, was I know some people that have a camp up in Northwest British Columbia, right? And I've gone there several times. They have it's called Williston Lake Outfitters. Maybe I'll have to put the link in. Because if you ever wanted to do a bucket list trip, this is one of them, right? There's so many experiences up there that I've met through all of these outdoors activities. So when I see things going wrong in my government, I see the education that some of the younger crowd really hasn't had, and they get swayed and they get influenced. And that's really why I'm here, Alpha. So I appreciate you coming to the space and contributing. It's more or less taking that experience, using a local aspect to really get in the thorn of our local politicians and really have a good standing on what's going on in our town and our county, right? That's where our power lies. We talk a lot of congressional in here, but realistically, I have no power up there. I may be some stupid fish on that.
Oh,
But
you got power, and I think you're a big game hunter.
Well, there hasn't been much. I haven't killed a moose yet. It's definitely on the bucket list. There's a lot of bucket list trips. So it's hey, if we could spread any influence in really changing the trajectory of some of these kids, get them to experience the same thing, I believe that these trips would be very good for kids that are detoxing from drugs and everything else, and to would really get these kids disconnected. This woman has always been willing, if I ever had a group of people that needed to go away and lock them away, and this would be the perfect place. horseback riding, fossils, the climbing mountains, sheep, elk, deer, moose, everything you could ever experience is on this trip.
Get them fishing and hunting and just get them connected to real life because that's where you get based, where you have a good foundation. I hear you, brother.
Okay, Julie.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I wanted to talk about a couple things about New Jersey. So, since I haven't seen you in a while, I haven't had a chance to talk about so many things that are
Definitely
happening in New
splashes.
Jersey.
Definitely splashes with your and hey, before you go, I definitely been watching Dawn Fantasia there, and she followed me back, and I'm trading back on her stuff there, and she's doing it.
Yeah, well, she's my assemblywoman. She represents the Roxbury area plus a lot of in Sussex County, which is, like the last beacon of of good New Jersey, where there really is no, there it's starting to infiltrate with bad Democratic policies are coming in there, but so far they're fighting off, and she's a fighter, man. And so is I was just looking at I don't know if you know Assemblyman Paul Cantra. He's down south. He's fighting his district, I believe, is like around the Point Pleasant area, seaside, and he's another one. He's another force to be reckoned with. He's another good politician, good assemblyman. You have to follow him too as well, Marlon, especially because he's fighting for the Jersey Shore. And the thing that's really been scary is going through this these kids that every weekend now, this is this new thing that they used to do, call them raves. Now they're pop-up parties, and they're starting to be on the boardwalks and starting all kinds of trouble, rioting, fighting. It happened up in Narragansett of all places. That's, I mean, up in New England there. It's a little seaside town up in up in Rhode Island. But it's happening here, and it just happened in Monmouth County. If you saw that in Long Branch, but I don't know if you follow Teacher from New Jersey. She put out a bunch of police alerts for a lot of the Jersey Shore towns where they are already have gotten wind, and they're trying to get in front of these pop-up parties that are going to be starting. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. But also with Paul Cantra, go ahead.
Well, are those violent acts after those parties by minorities, or is it like any race just because of like drugs?
It has nothing to do with minorities. It's young kids. It's
That
teenagers,
sucks.
kids, and they've been doing that. That's why Murphy had to institute. Not that I want to say anything good about Murphy, because trust me, I don't. But
Yeah.
last year he did the curfews on the boardwalks because it's bad and out of control, and they don't have enough. Police force to man these big places where a lot of people take their families to go. And the Jersey Shore is something that we have. It's a very, very big industry for New Jersey. It's a big money maker. And if we start to have stuff like this, it's not going to be good. And if people don't, that are within the the GOP don't start speaking out about it. Plus the other side, I mean, this is something that should be bipartisan. This is something that should be stopped, because the Jersey Shore is a very big moneymaker for New Jersey, and Marlon can tell you all about that. And he's fighting other big things that they want to do to our Jersey Shore line. But also, these are the other things that are a problem within New Jersey. But Paul Cantra, Marlon, is somebody to watch. I'll send you his link so that you can follow him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
definitely-
it sounds like it's not just
Yo, Alpha, do me a favor, dude. Yo. I can't have you speaking.
I'm a
and
raver. I
reacting
was just
to
gonna
everything that
support
goes, dude. No, I get it, dude. Look, people are already complaining that you're up there, you're a distractor, and it's all good, dude. I'm fine. I want to react to the people because, hey, what she's saying, hey, it affects me a lot, right? That's why I'm onto this app, because, hey, we came out fighting against the green energy 4 years ago, right? That's how long we've been doing these spaces to really get this idea out about the green energy plan, the Joe Biden administration, the lockstep that The Murphy administration has handed off to Mikey Shirley here. These are the problems that we're trying to combat. A lot of the other fights, I think people do listen, right? So that's why I just can't have you jumping in. Dude, you're welcome to stay, raise your hand, comment. I'm all for it, but we got to get a couple of things out. So I appreciate that. Good. Get out.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, immediately after you say what you want to say, I just want to comment on her as a raver from the like '90s raver era. What's going on today? And I just have my comment that I want to say after you.
So, hey, we're looking at some of the results that come out of some of these discussions. Obviously, we see the Trump administration and what he's putting forward as far as the green energy plan and what's going on with the wind farms here, how the leases are being discontinued, how these companies are going out of business and relying on the Gloucester County taxpayer to pay the leases in Paulsboro, right? We're going to start posting all of that stuff, especially about New Jersey. Now, the reason I say that is because the education system here and the two schools that are mostly responsible for this misinformation, right? The actually exposure of what it does to our environment and actually educating the kids that this wind is a bad deal, right? We're talking about Rowan University and we're talking about Rutgers. So those two education systems here in my own state have been really funneling this information to these younger kids, and they really don't know the whole story. They're only telling them bits and pieces, the things that look good about the green energy plan here in New Jersey. So when I came onto this app, I could have screamed forever down on that beach when I saw the right whales and the humpbacks and the coral and the sponges and everything else that was getting deposited on my beaches. I couldn't take it. I almost went out of my head, and you know who really didn't care? My GOP really didn't care. Oh, they heard about it. Oh, yeah, we're working on it. But they really didn't know the impacts. To see the DOD come out and the Coast Guard come out and the Trump administration come out and are fighting against this, it's a good indication it's probably a bad deal. And then when you find out that my governor, his wife, is a 32% stakeholder in Goldman Sachs, which was a #1 contributor to the East Coast Wind Project. But the worst part is we don't even know what's coming. Us in Jersey, we may know a little bit more than other states, but those other states are filing in. North Carolina, that East Coast wind is still going there. North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana, Florida, they're all signing on to this, and they're using the hub that they made the taxpayers facilitate building and expanding Paulsboro, building another port in Salem, and now these companies are pulling out, going bankrupt, Chapter 11. You know who's responsible for that? John Q. Taxpayer, right here in Jersey. That's who's responsible for it. And in fact, Julie, when I put that post out about that last week, did you see what Ed said?
No, I did not.
So Ed, a former state senator, he's a friend of mine, and he's really given us the education that it was really since Orsted pulled out a year ago, the New Jersey taxpayers have been facilitating that lease that Orsted had in Paulsboro, New Jersey. So now, let's talk about a little Doge that we can do on our own end, right? Start tallying that shit up on how much it's costing the taxpayers. Frivolous lawsuits against the towns, my port being coerced, and use these education systems to put off a false narrative about the narrative.
Stop.
So,
Sorry, Marlon.
Heather Simmons is really the big aggregator down here in South Jersey for this, and they're the ones that manipulated that board to be able to really accept this and have my government now paying the tax bill on it. I haven't been to a county meeting in a while, and I really, really need to get there. So it's biweekly. I'm sure your county has the same thing. It's biweekly, twice a month they meet. Anywho, not to go off on a tangent about the green energy process, but look, it's still going on. Empire Wind is still going. But here down here, Ocean 1 and 2 have been shut down. That's why that material's down there rusting. I'm going to post the pictures. If you guys remember the pictures that I sent you, that I showed all the equipment that's just sitting there. Backfire. Man, that is going on in a lot of other states.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to be offensive with the claps. I just clicked the claps because I was agreeing with you. Sorry about that.
No worries. Hey, we just kind of run things a little bit different than most, and a lot of times, hey man, we got people coming up and they wait for a long time, and we have a lot of interrupters come in and want to add their comments, and I get it, not interrupters, but people that want to comment, and it really drags, when people have their hands up. So that's what we're just kind of careful of. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I wanted to talk to you big about. I've been following Paul Kentra, and he's really fighting for the people that live, especially year-round people. And there's more and more year-round people that live in Ocean County and that area. Point Pleasant, Seaside, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, they're putting a new policy out, Marlon. I don't know if you saw this, that they want the huge swaths of our state in flood zones, enforcing everybody to raise their homes an additional 4 feet. And he was fighting against it. He says that every single mayor in Ocean County is now standing united against this devastating rule. I mean, can you imagine? And he even said, he's like, the water levels, what do they raise by? I think he said something ridiculous, like 0.00083%, like it raises that much in a year or every 4 years, whatever. He goes, so and he says to the guy, he goes, like, what's the lifespan of most of these houses down there? He's like, I don't know, 50 somewhat years. He goes, right. So in 80 years, it would raise 4 feet, if that. He goes, so why are these little old ladies raise their houses 4 feet? It's another land grab. It's a way of getting people to leave that area, Marlon.
Well, let me say, first off, when Superstorm Sandy hit, it took me from the brink of losing my business to be able to be back on top again, right? I'm not saying, hey, I love the storm that went through, but unfortunately, Sandy was a blessing for me. I watched Brigantine. Here's a good example, right? You guys all know where Brigantine is, just north of Atlantic City. They raised the floodplain 3.8 feet. And that's basically what they came up with the storm surge that actually went through those barrier islands. And that's where they came up with this 4 feet. Okay, 3.8 is 36 inches. It's 42 inches above. Now, I can't tell you how many jobs that I did about people raising houses. There were all kinds of contractors that went down there, raised these houses up on pump jacks. They put the masonry in, and we went and re-sheetrocked them. It saved me. Nothing. So
No,
I know. Now, what most people don't understand is when they did that raise of the 3 feet, they were thinking about in the future, right? Some of the neighborhoods down there, they were built on pilings, but there's not a whole lot of them. Just like North Brigantine, right? So when Superstorm Sandy came through, where they assessed it was at about 4 feet, right? So here was the problem. The problem was this was where FEMA had stepped in. This is where disaster funds, Chris Christie state money came in, and anybody that this was a secondary home, you didn't get any of this. Zero. That was the only way. That was your primary house, it was the only way that you had to now go fight with FEMA, flood insurance, and homeowners. Anything where the water reached below was all covered by homeowners. Anything above was covered by flood insurance. Anything above the water line was covered by homeowners. And then FEMA came in and they gave you kind of like a gift, but you had to have all these processes going. Julie, there's people down there right now that still have not been paid since 2012 when Sandy went through there. There is 4.56 trillion, $1 billion in the New Jersey fund for those victims, and they held it back. There's still $4.5 billion in that.
Okay, can I ask a question? Because you probably would know this better. All right, by naming it Superstorm Sandy, took also screwed a lot of people, right, Marlon? Because it wasn't considered a hurricane; they called it a superstorm. So I know that was an issue. But you would probably know better that a lot of people got screwed because they didn't call it a hurricane as opposed to Superstorm Sandy, which they said every 100 years something like this is going to happen.
So to have a storm integrate west was a very yeah. Anyway, you know what I mean. That storm integrating west was an anomaly that never happens here, right? Everything is to the northeast flow. That's the way that the Gulf Stream goes. But this storm, for some reason, took a left turn and went directly. I mean, I swear to God, the eye of it went over my house. We never lost power. But everybody north of Brigantine, they got hurricane force winds and sustained winds for hours upon hours. And then what happened is it comes out of the northeast for all that time, and then she comes around from the westerly. Well, if you can imagine, your house moves much more than you could ever think, right? When you get snow loads, get wind loads, your house is moving. I don't give a shit where you live, your house is moving. And what happened was it was so hard out of the northeast, and then it turned around from the west just as hard, 70, 80 miles an hour, sustained for hours. These houses, that's where the problem came in, right? Now, the classification between superstorm and hurricane, it's because it didn't fit the hurricane criteria and the eye wall fell apart. But everybody from Brigantine on up, all the way up into Staten Island, New York, and all Montauk, all of it, they sustained heavy damage. So we were lucky. We were lucky down in the southern part of the state. Most of my work was all on LBI. We put so many businesses back up within days that it was, again, I had never experienced anything like that in my life. The amount of trash we were allowed on the island like 12 hours after we were already down there. So it was crazy town. Well, yes, because it fell apart and didn't meet the hurricane status. Not that it was any less powerful, it just didn't meet the criteria. Did they do that as far as some kind of insurance problem or classification problem? I have no idea.
Okay, that's why I was just checking. I figured you would.
And then we're going to go to you, Jen. When they rebuilt those houses and lifted them up to 4 feet, what it actually gave them an ability to put in storm blocks, right? These are metal panels that where they deemed that water was the highest point, they put these breakaway panels in the foundations now. So if the water
comes up and it reaches that panel is going to release first, and it's going to allow the water to go through the unit instead of toppling it. Right. So it did, in the back of my head, raising that floodplain from 3.8 to 4 foot. It's really not a whole bunch. I think it's a good thing myself.
Well, the only question I have is that, I know that they, after Superstorm Sandy, any new builds had to go with these regulations. But they're saying these little houses that have been there for, since I was a kid, they've been there for over 50 years. They're there and they withstood the test of time of all the storms that come through. And now they're telling them they all have to do it. I don't know. I think that's a little over excessive. I mean, the water level that'll raise, I mean, maybe if you're in extreme flood zone section, I mean, and maybe it wasn't a flood zone when your house originally got built, but now it is. Okay, maybe that's okay. But they're saying everybody has to do this. That's crazy.
Well, they did it in again designated areas, right? North Brigantine, that's pretty much the low point of that island. It should be really broken up into like districts where they need to do that, and then evaluated on the flood risk, right? They have those environmental reports out there. So probably some of the places, if they were able to express on, hey, what their elevation was compared to another part of the same town, they would have a good case, and I'm sure you're going to hear that come out.
What happened to Jenny? What happened to Jen?
I don't know. Maybe she got booted when she got a mic. So again, that's why, hey, it's going to be important for, us to get that local feel, right? And that's what I've been missing for a while. And that's definitely, my focus now is to really start helping and tearing apart and stay the needle in their side. That's what I think they're missing. I think some of these people get aggravated, just like you see on this app. They get aggravated and want to quit and all that. And hey, it's very hard to keep it positive all the time. It's hard. But when you really break it down, we should be looking at this as a local level, taking the education that we're learning here and apply it. And it's really the better part is ask these same questions that we're asking, because guess what? It doesn't matter what in the green energy in a camp, your state. Yeah, I don't care where you're at. Any of these Gulf states, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia. There's other things in the pipeline. Okay, number one, I've been telling you that the ammonia and hydrogen production are coming to every one of our major cities, and this infrastructure is coming. Watch out for it. When your county's in one of those city metro areas, you should really be looking. That's who I would be questioning. There's other things that are happening right here in our state, and we've been letting it slide. So, hey, if we can get the message out and educate people on how to go and attack their own town and state, maybe give them just a little bit of a foundation, that's fine. Great.
100%. We have to. We have to, especially if you are outnumbered in your legislator and you don't have that. You have your voice. You have to attend these meetings. You have to be present. Let them know. I mean, look what they did in Andover. Like I said, it's it is a stay off, and it might come back again very soon. They are trying hard to build that data center up there in Andover, and right now the townspeople came together and said, "No, you can't make this decision without asking your constituents." Maybe it's good, it's bad. I'm not saying anything about the data center itself. I don't know enough about them. I don't know if they draw the water that they're saying they do, if it pollutes it. But I'm not saying I know any of that part. I'm saying that you need to talk to the people that live in that area and say, hey, let's vote on this. Let's make it a vote and see if this is something that will benefit the town that we live in. It will help. It'll help. With revenue. It'll help with jobs. It will help with anything. Before you just go and make that decision, 6 people just should be making that decision for everybody that's within that township. That's all I'm saying. Like I said, I don't know enough about them, but that's the problem that we're having. Is you can't just have 6 people making a decision for everybody that's within that area.
That's what the BPU does in this state. What are you talking about? It's the board of 5 that's making all the decisions. Our legislature gave them the power a year ago. The Murphy administration did that, right? So now you have a board of 5 that the eminent domain and everything that we're talking about, it all boils down to the utility authority here in New Jersey. It's the board of 5 that's making decisions for every one of our towns. So we better start fighting back. I think there's a lot of cause for, especially Cranberry. I bet there's a lot of cause for talking about that state legislature removing that power out of the BPU in the state. That's what we should be talking about. You know what? And in fact, when you really start breaking it down and watching our utility costs, it's them. It's them. They're the ones that shut down the coal fire plants in the western part of the state. It was the utility authority that did that. So we got to be idiots. We're talking about Epstein files and everything that's going on, and meanwhile, all this shit's going on under our nose. I want to talk about one other thing before we go much further. I've heard a lot of people talking, even in my own local. They're talking about the price of canned foods going through the roof. They're talking about, I'm not putting out fear porn, but I think maybe, some people in the background, they should fortify some of the things that they were used to. Right? Maybe stock up a little bit more on the tomatoes and the vegetables. And, from what I hear is they're going to try and have some kind of food shortage during the summer here. That's what I'm hearing. Right. So, hey, I want to grow as much as I can. I want to grow something that's worth it for me to grow. It's not worth it to grow everything, but hey, I even put corn in this year, right? I'm going to freeze as much corn as possible. My peach trees did get attacked by the freeze. I'm real sad about that. I don't have too many peach trees. I'm peaches on my trees. I'm not a happy camper.
Yeah, well, that's definitely something that we all need to do. Even if you live in like I do, in a townhouse where you can do it off your back deck, just a little bit. There's so many different ways to grow vegetables now that you don't need to have this big property and everything. I mean, it would be really nice to do that and make your own little garden. But you can do different types of gardening. I mean, we talked about it on here. What's that one with what you could do with a PVC piping and hydroponics? There's lots of things.
Strawberry. Yo, that guy had his act together. Did you see those strawberries come off of there?
No, but I know strawberry season's upon us, so I can't wait to get mine from the farm, because especially, I don't know if you saw, Apothecary had put shared out that post. There was that Driscoll's fruit, which I don't buy any Driscoll's when I'm in the food store. If I buy from the food store, if I don't go to my local farms. Because sometimes you can't get them year round at other farms. But you ever cut a strawberry open from a Driscoll's compared to a farm grown natural strawberry? They're like white inside and they're nasty tasting, but they're also covered with so much pesticides and chemicals. You can't even I try to soak all my stuff, just what they say, with just using baking soda and stuff. And peroxide, I try to soak all my fruit in that, and they said that doesn't even touch it. Doesn't even touch it. So don't buy Driscoll's, guys. Don't buy Driscoll's.
That was a terrible report. We're talking about the pesticides that they use for all those berry productions, right? Talking about, and we talked about it the other day, right? We talked about the farm raised fish, and that subject came up. So I'm glad to see that. Hey, you go into Walmart, that's all it is. Driscoll blackberries, Driscoll blueberries, Driscoll strawberries, every bit of it. And I live in the number one blueberry capital of the world, Hamilton, New Jersey. Right, it's where Ocean Spray is. They grow massive amounts of blueberries here. Cranberries, all your cranberries you're drinking across the country. Yep, that shit comes from Jersey.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So talking about strawberries, I got an out and out war against the squirrels. All right, the squirrels are coming down, and they only eat the ripe ones, right? And it wouldn't be so bad if they took the whole strawberry off of there. But here's this beautiful strawberry up there, and this squirrel ate half of it. Right, he left the other half on the vine. I'm like, dude, if you're gonna eat it now, it's a total war. We oh man. Anyway,
He was saving you some, Marlon.
well, that ain't cool. Eat the whole thing if you're gonna eat it. Love my wings. How you doing?
I'm doing well, my friend. And Julie, I totally agree with you. For the last few years, I've been eating fruit that's in season. And like I pick up blueberries when they're in season here. I go to a farm and I pick them myself, and I pick more than enough so that I can freeze them. Marlon, when it comes to your strawberries, one thing that I've done to protect mine is I paint little rocks that look like raspberry or that look like strawberries, so that when the birds and the squirrels come in and they think that they're going to get a red juicy one, they're nailing a rock with their beak or with their teeth. So that's just a thought.
I think that is wonderful. Oh my God, that's such a good idea. Holy shit. This girl goes in there and chomp. I hope the son bitch breaks his teeth.
You know it. And after a couple of years of doing it, they stay away. They won't go near them. So it's just a thought.
That's a great idea. I'll definitely have to go. I'm going to buy paint today. Love my wings. Misty, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. One of my letters to ask for a emergency temporary moratorium pause has been helped the city of Raleigh, California. They had a city council meeting yesterday, and they voted to give a pause to any data centers, but and are going to take a year to make sure that they have the right zoning codes. They're going to make sure they have the right water resources and whatnot to protect their city. And it was impressive. You can actually go and watch it. It's actually labeled. It's D. You scroll down, you can go straight to what the topic is, and it says there and they voted for the year. So it's more about just letting you guys know that when you try and you share information just for the sake of sharing to see if it can bring around change. It happened, and we can have power, and we can use our voice to save our communities. And so I'm trying to give a little bit of hope, and we can overcome. And so I was the young lady who said, I gave it to her about a week and a half ago, and they put it on this meeting yesterday, and they were able to vote and give the city a year to protect themselves and their community. So I think that's pretty spectacular, and I just wanted to share that. It's about producing outcomes that help us gain back our voices and protecting our beautiful states, and working on other things to change what's going on, to get back to a lawful and to uphold the laws of the Constitution. And so I just wanted you guys to know we do have rights, we do have ways to fight, and I've already put out all the documents, and I don't have my name on them. I'm not looking. It's not about that. It's about getting that year for that city now to get those protections against these huge data centers that just want to come in and destroy and invade our privacy and your children's and your grandchildren's. And it's so I'll just land there, but I just want to appreciate you giving me the mic today, Marlon. And I hope you could go to Sunday school, and you can have the kids paint the strawberries for you, so you can make that a little. You can have them do a little project for you, so you have a whole garden full of them. So
Hilarious.
So I love that.
I'm definitely going to try that.
I think it's great. So, but thanks for letting me talk today.
Oh, good to see you, Misty. Thanks. And you talking just reminded me. There's been talking with the ARA beef and listening to what happened as far as the GOP fleecing her for money, right? And basically, I kind of sat back and I'm watching my own rep, Jeff Van Drew, and even Andy Kim on the other side. I guess that's why I keep getting put on the bottom of the list, is because I haven't bucked up any money for their campaign. Do you think these people should be called out for this? Do you think if a citizen inside of your constituent, inside of your district, has good legislation to put you on the bottom of the list and then forget about you? Because both of those politicians, my congressman and my senator, did that. I have half a mind to be able to make a appointment with the legislatures inside of their offices, and I want to ask them point blank. I would like to hear the answer on why they won't work on common sense legislation, because I didn't contribute to your political PAC. That's basically what it comes down to, because that's exactly
You
what the
have
ARA was told.
But you are contributing. They're your servant. You have been paying their salaries. Don't just because
No
you
shit.
haven't paid an extra tax to get them to their seat doesn't mean that they owe you. You don't owe them, and they should be making sure that every constituent is listened to and common sense laws need to come back. And to me, the RNC and the DNC are the same damn party. It's what's going on right now in Washington. I have a letter on that. I actually had a lawyer, because it's a class action suit. He got it back to me, so I've got to format it. But then I have somebody who said they would pay for the lawyers. So I'm working on that. But there's a second part that I'm waiting on, because I added in about the Social Security, because they've been taking from it, stealing from it without permission or acknowledgement or any kind of say from us. And they've been doing it for decades. And also the fact that if you're a married couple, you both, for a lot these days, they have two earned incomes, and we weren't given a choice. And they shouldn't be able to say that one income gets to be totally taken away and you only get the higher percent paying income. No, those were both worked. We shouldn't have our life investment that cost that was our employers kept our hours and our pay raises and health care and all that based on things they had to do to put in this mandated into Social Security. So that affected every aspect of our lives. And I believe that you should be able to keep both incomes to live off of, not just the higher paying one, because they don't have the right to take the income. So I have that. He's looking at that right now, but it's a lot harder case, because there's a lot of tax laws and code. So I'm just waiting on that part, but I might proceed with the other first part, because the Senate is still upholding this America Save Act, and it's a less than a 10 vote differential. So it's tyranny.
Let me ask you a question. Hold on. So and then we'll go to you, Jen, and then Rusty, right? That's unbelievable that they're only taking the higher income and actually paying you benefits on that. Wait a minute, Misty, you paid into it your entire life since you've been working since you were young, right? I'm in my middle 50s. I don't know that it's going to be there for me. Thank God for it right now for my mother and all, but I don't know that it's going to be. So I would definitely like to hear, some of the evidence that you're going to be able to presume those cases. What really irritates me is that we've given Ukraine over 400 billion weapons and cash, but yet we can't get income coming to people that are actually deserving of that benefit.
Absolutely.
Brutal. So, hey, let's go to Jen. I know she was up for a while. Jen, how you doing? Good.
I'm good. All of a sudden you cut off. Can you hear me?
We
Yep,
hear you.
here you go.
Okay, good. I had plumbers show up. I actually was just coming up on the whole land grab thing because, you know, as a Gen X Saturday morning cartoon watcher, I feel like we were lied to because people who want to just grab your land, they're supposed to like scare you and pretend like they're ghosts or like Frankenstein and stuff like that. And I just feel like it's a big ripoff. And then we're at the end supposed to like rip off their mask and be like, oh, it was Mr. McSmithers who just wanted to take our land. I genuinely feel ripped off because that doesn't happen. So let's just go back to the Scooby Doo moment of people who like are, you know, going through some effort and make it comical at least. Because if you're gonna F me and the B, you know, there should be some entertainment value. That's all I got to say about that.
We're not getting value for our money, Jen. Okay, Rusty, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I was thinking, when Misty was talking that, like, you know, because she was like, they should, you know, that, you know, they owe us, and you know, she's absolutely right, and it's something we all know, right? I mean, like, this government is not built to govern us. You know what I mean? And that's really what it's turned. I mean, it,
Shut off. My phone shut off. It shut off.
Yeah, did you think you got mass reported your space?
I have no idea.
Crazy. Oh man, we just love these people. This is such a good platform. They don't like what you got to say, mass report you, and then they wipe away your space.
Don't ask me.
Well, guys, since you're coming back, please like and reshare the space. Let's get it out there. Let's get everybody come back in and join. This was a good conversation that we had going on. So please do that for me.
I think sorry about that. I can't help that shit. I just got to combat it the best we can. So, I really want to point out there that it's exactly what the ARA experienced. You can't get any legislation done until you're paying them extra. And I can't wait to go make an appointment inside of DC, all my constituents, and they're going to get an earful when I sit down in front of that staff. Because, hey, I'm not contributing to your political campaign pack. That's the reason that you're not going to put common sense legislation forward. There's a problem with that.
Yeah, no, you have to get involved with both sides. You have to get both sides to work with you, just like you've always been saying. If you don't, you're especially in New Jersey, you're not going to get anywhere. With the weak GOP presence. So we have to learn how to navigate that.
Well, what do I do? Stop, fail, and run?
Hell no.
Yeah, Miles.
Yeah, I was liking Misty's activism. She's very active in the old system. Um, but she listens to, me and other people as far as certain things that are happening that have never happened before. So that's what's really interesting. She was talking about Social Security. Now, I'm retired and I'm dealing with, that same system, the old system. So either you may like him, you may not, because who he likes and stuff. But Glenn Beck was playing a interview by Elon Musk, and Elon said, "Don't save for the future because you're not going to need it. It's going to be a waste of time." So I don't know what he's talking about, but there is something happening that has never happened before. So, and he already said that we're in the singularity right now with AGI. That's artificial general intelligence. So Glenn Beck said, yeah, by 2028, our world's going to be completely different. But I don't know what that's going to look like. We're all kind of waiting.
You know what? There's some aspects of my life, Miles, that have changed in the last 55 years, no doubt about it. But there's a couple of them that haven't. When you unplug it, you go out into nature, 100 miles offshore, or up into the mountains. No more AI, buddy. AI is not going to come and save you and give you water or food, and it goes primal pretty quick. So they lose this phone. Still understand it's really not a problem.
I know exactly what you're talking about. We got a lot of rain here, and I wanted to have a campfire, and I had to start a fire with wet wood. And I got a nice roaring fire last night. A lot of people don't know how to do that.
Nope, they sure don't. Hey, go ask the kid to go tie a bowline on the back of that truck so when we tow your truck out of here, it doesn't clamp up and can't get the knot undone, right? These are all little things that we talked about many, many times in here, man. Those kids are not ready for what they're about to, embark on, right? I mean, yeah, they may be behind a computer working for Salesforce or whatever. But, you unplug this shit, they're going to want to know. Huh. Inquiring minds want to know. We were talking about food and everything else, and now it's harvest, man.
I just had my yogurt with my fresh fruit on it. Not Driscoll.
Mm, well, the asparagus has been great. We've been getting some asparagus out of my garden. I'm not super happy with the production there, but the asparagus that comes out of that garden is so sweet. Okay. And I wish I got like big stalks and all the time, and it doesn't happen like that. But yeah, good stuff. Now I'm protecting my peaches, Rachel. I
So,
got about
Marlon, you said you're kind of a international type experienced person. Have you ever had Vegemite?
no. Who's that? Miles? Miles told you about Vegemite? Miles, the other Miles, not you, Miles.
I know who the other Miles is. Yep.
The McDundee Miles. Yeah. I haven't seen Miles. He's a disruptor. Pain in the ass. That's like a lot of people on here. Pain in the ass.
Well, come on now. It's X. That's what's happening.
Where did Alpha Light go? He's a pain in the ass.
I don't know. Maybe he was the one mass reporting your space because you wouldn't let him do his little noises.
See, that's what they expect, right? They want to go into these other spaces, and I guess they're tolerant enough to where they're able to just jump in and comment on everything that comes out of their mouth. That
Marlon, have you ever met Alpha White Cracker?
yeah. I blocked him long ago.
Yeah.
He's right up there with Blue Ninja. Okay. Hello.
We got to talk about
Hello. I just can't stand him coming in the
we got to talk about the nuclear family. Come on now.
Well, you know what? Got a lot of things to look forward to. Although the weather's going to suck for Memorial Day here. Good. Days this week.
No.
It looks like the warmest it is next Friday, 82. So yeah, we got.
Yeah. That's when I'll be going camping. So that's good because it gets mighty cold up there in that Sussex County.
Camping?
Yeah, I told you for the Crawfish Festival. We camp out.
Oh, you camp out? Like literally camp out? My
Yeah.
idea of camping is the Hilton. You know that, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not a glamper. So yeah, actually, this is the only camping that I'll do with a tent. But our bed is actually on a frame that we put in the tent. I'm a partial glamper. Okay, I won't say that I'm, but it's not bad, and it's close enough actually to my house that I will go back home and take a shower and then come back up again. So
We won't hear it. I told you about my camping experience, right? You would think big nature outdoor guy can't stand it. Can't stand the tent, the sleeping bag, none of it, right? I forget when it was. It was probably it's got to be 15 or 16 years ago, right? So my wife cons me into going camping with the kids down the campground. Yeah. All right, great. I used to go down for my birthday. Well, she ends up so here, dad taking the two kids down camping, and she knows I hate it. Can't stand it, right? So we had a good time. I had 50 people sing me happy birthday that I didn't know. It's very embarrassing. Anyway, during the night, after the partying and you go to bed or whatever, about 3 or 4, cold front came through. It rained. It snowed. I woke up to that. I piled everything in the back of that truck. I deflated the mattress, rolled the camp up in a ball, threw the shit in the back truck, and I went home. I needed a shower. I was freezing cold. My kids were, oh my God, I got dirt in my ears. No thanks.
Yeah. My favorite time to camp is in the winter.
What do you mean? Go ahead. What do you mean, love moment?
I mean, my favorite time to camp is in the winter. The colder, the better. Pick out any spot I want. There's nobody around. There's no bugs. The food tastes better. It's my favorite season to camp.
Oh, I have no season. I think camping on a boat, camping long enough. You don't get dirt in your ears in the boat.
I couldn't camp on a boat. I couldn't. No, no, it's too rocky. Like no, I'd be seasick. No.
Wow, that's the best part of it. You're right to sleep, man. Let's get, you know, you can sit in the bunk and you can listen to every creak in the boat, and that'll do it. There's nothing worse than sleeping in the boat and the band is playing up at the top. And you hear the band until 1 or 2. Yeah, it's pretty.
It's nothing worse than sleeping in the boat and then having Jaws come in on the side and start banging away at your side of your boat and starts leaking.
I don't think that's worth it.
Brother and I. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah.
Say my husband, my brother, and they used to go out. Well, and my dad, but he wouldn't sleep out on the boat with us. But the three of us would pass out on the boat, and we put little jingle bells on the tips of our rods, so that way, if the walleye hit, we'd hear it, and whoever woke up and got to the pole first, it was their fish. It didn't matter. But that was on the Great Lakes. That's not in the ocean. Ocean is completely different.
My father was the one that got me into it, Wings. He had a 16-foot Boston Whaler when I was a young kid. Caught so many fish in that boat. But I'll never forget, we went out shark fishing overnight one night, and we had the same kind of thing. Like, they were all partying, having a great time, and then they left all the rods out, right? No bells on them, no nothing, right? So the old man, he gets up probably at about 4:30, 5 o'clock, and here, 2 with the reels have no line on, right? Because the fish came up and ate the thing and took off with the entire school. We're all asleep.
We only had.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, love me Wings.
I was just gonna say we only had that happen one time. That's how we started with the little bells. And it wasn't a shark. It was hopefully a nice big walleye or salmon or something.
Well, I don't know. It could have been gulls. It could have been a 1,000-pound blue marlin for all we knew. One of the stupid things you remember. I'll never forget what he said. He says, "Man," he says, "I would like to see that fish." I says, "Well, Pop, if you had done the right thing and set the drag right, we would have heard it." I knew much more by the time I was 9 years old than my old man knew about fishing. Anyway,
Memories are good though. That's what's good. And that's why we like to preserve some of the things in New Jersey. I'm not naive to the fact that, as time goes on, you need to change a few things. But the drastic changes that they're trying to do with this little state is just mind-boggling to me. And the taking away of the farmlands. I mean, we're called the Garden State for a reason. We have the Jersey Shore, which is some of the most beautiful shores on the East Coast, and it's just everything is just being trying to take away. It seems like they're trying to take away everything from us. I don't know. It's kind of like the New Jersey I grew up in is not the same New Jersey now. That's for sure, and I'm sure you can say the same thing, Marlon.
some of the things, like I said, some of the things have really changed. There's a lot more people there now. I mean, when we were growing up, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, nobody went down to the shore. I mean, it was like you went down there in December, January, there was nobody there. Now you have permanent residents there all the time. I mean, there's a lot of people, millions of people live down there now. Hey, have you seen the commercial for the Wildwoods? Billy, seen that on TV?
Yeah, yes, I have.
wow with days. Hey, somebody put a post out about how much it costs. Do you know, by the time I would rent a unit, now this is only an hour away from it, right? I could rent a unit in Wildwood Crest and I could take the same money and go have an entire vacation with all my meals, my flight, everything included for the same number of just renting a joint in Wildwood Crest.
Oh yeah, yeah. That Wake Up put a post out about the prices, how they have gone up for rentals down the Jersey Shore, and it's astronomical. As a matter of fact, that's why he and his family now go to Virginia. Unfortunately, because they just can't afford to have a really nice week off vacation. Freaking a week off. You work all year long, you get a week off, and you don't want to be spending all your money on just the boardwalk or just going, getting some meals out and everything. It's just crazy how things have gone up. And now they just raised the parking rates in Cape May, which I go to every year. Is Cape May? We go down to Cape May every year. So yeah.
So Julie, I got to teach you the spots to park, right? Even if you go downtown or whatever, there's some local knowledge there where to park, right? Let me know next time.
Well, what's good is where we stay in Cape May, we're down past Congress Hall. So basically we could leave our car at the motel that we stay at, and we walk to the store, all the shops and stuff like that, and all the restaurants. We walk everywhere we're going. And when we're used to stay, which is by the Grand, way up that way, that was a pain in the butt because you couldn't just walk to the stores. You couldn't walk anywhere. You had to drive. So now we've gotten smarter. What?
The
Yeah,
Grand. What a dump.
it is a dump, and it's an expensive dump.
It is. Oh, what a dump. See, we used to have, we would have a cottage in the villa when we were growing up, right? My parents, my grandmother had bought it. I talked about that story many, many times. We on the beach block, right? This small little cement cottage. That's all it was. We all used to sleep on the floor, and my father would hate it. I swear, there was a clock. There was a clock in our cottage, and it was like them white little wind up ones. And if anybody's in my category, they would remember this clock. And you would wind it up, and it was an alarm clock, and it would go. My old man, it would go crazy.
But those are the things that you remember. That's what makes it good. So, but it's so expensive. I mean, just trying to achieve the American dream is unattainable right now in New Jersey. I mean, starter homes at $350,000. Who the hell can afford that? I just it's crazy.
I don't know. I even my own sons, they're facing the same thing. We're trying to look for something that hey we can buy reasonable and fix up. But you're maybe 10 years ago you were able to buy something for under maybe 140,000, 110, 86, 78. They needed some work. They needed new kitchens, whatever. But those same houses now are 300, 330. Same houses.
Yeah, well, that's like my townhouse. We bought this in 2013 for $295. They're going for almost 500,000 now. I mean, it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah,
And there's bidding wars, Marlon.
yeah. When COVID happened, that really happened here a lot. I mean, there were people, there was 25, 30 people bouncing on one mortgage, and they were just upping the ante on the cash that they were laying down, even though they were underwater. If they bought the house for that number, that house was not worth it at the time. And during COVID or wherever, the property values really didn't creep up like they are now. Think about it, man. They were dumping like 280 into the property and then dumping another 100 into it to try and fix it up. Like, man, think of that. Like you said, $400,000 on a before now you can't even buy one. If you look on Zillow, you see those commercials, astronomical numbers. I mean, I wouldn't be able to afford the houses that they're looking at. I mean, think about it. 685,000, 920,000. When they show you on the, those are the clips. Like this is an everyday price for houses. Think about that. Oh my God. Man, it's getting
And what-
harder. I'm getting
and that-
older, it's getting harder.
And that's why these big developers and stuff and these corporations, they're buying up these houses because nobody can afford these starter homes. And then they knock them down and they build whatever's in its place. And so, the kids that want to stay in New Jersey, the younger generation that wants to stay in this state can't because there's nothing obtainable. And if they wanted to, get an apartment or they wanted to get a condo, they would do that. But they don't want that. They want their own property. They want to be able to it's a right. It's a passage. It's a good thing, to that feeling of being able to own your own home at 30 years old or whatever. And, now that's just not, it's not possible. Not around here. It's not.
I think there's other parts of the country that are probably more reasonable. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot facing these kids. If they don't have, hey, some 2 or 3 different plans, man, it's like, I don't know where they're going to come up with it. I'm nervous for them. I really am. I think about how hard it was for me and my wife, let alone somebody that's just starting out and don't have the credit history and what they're subject to. That's why I'm screaming. I just, the Fed is putting out there that they're going to raise the rates here, right? Because there's some numbers that don't line up. The CPI doesn't line up with the unemployment number, and it's just not telling us the right story. They're neglecting to tell you that they had the right information 2 years ago to create. They, this new Fed chairman, I think last Monday was his first week, and he's the one entertaining, raising the interest rate here another quarter or 0.5% back up, put the more 30 over 6.25. And if your credit ain't good, it's more than 6.25. People, it's more like 7. Think about that. They have caused stagflation. That this is the exact definition of that. I know I talked about that the other day, but it's a prime example.
Yeah, no, there's lots of good things. And, Mikey Sherrill's also, she's not going to do the tax holiday that Trump is proposing for the high cost of fuel in New Jersey. And she's not going to do it again. She's not going to do anything for the people of this state. And because these taxes are all going to help. It's all going to help the illegals that are in the state that are overrunning our state. Yeah. There's so many things that we have to fight for in this state and that we have to be loud about and we have to push back because it's sure not anything that's helping us, the middle class and the working class that are trying to stay in the state that they love, that they've grown up in. And that really is sad.
Well, hey, I want my kids to enjoy it. I don't want them to struggle. I think, hey, they set themselves up and, they're trying to do the right thing, but it's going to be incredibly hard for them to really accomplish it. Hold on to the mortgage. You have these outrageous taxes coming along, fuel, the gasoline, $4.59 a gallon, diesel, $5.60. 560. I think 562 is the best number I saw, man. Think about that. Where's that money come from?
Right.
When you do your bids on these jobs, you can't anticipate this. My pricing is going up. Now everybody's pricing scared. Now, I have to raise my number when everybody else is trying to lower it. Same. My material goes up every month.
Yeah, no, it's horrible. I remember I was not too long ago talking with Dee Dee about that. He, with his diesel costs to run his farm equipment, he's like, it's can't do it. And I think I saw an article about maybe it was Shelley was talking about her son who does this, and like his costs all last year, or it might have been the year before, for his diesel to run his equipment all year long for what he does was like 6,000. He's already surpassed that already in the last 2 months. It's just insane. But if you notice, I don't know if there was an article I just saw today, and if I find it again, I'll put it in the bubble. I think it's Chevron Corporation is coming out and they're putting signs at their gas stations in California saying that these high prices have nothing to do with Donald Trump. And you need to look at your governor and the taxes that have been proposed and put in on your states as to why these prices are so high. It was a really good article. If I find it, I'll put it in the thing. But yeah, and this is why people can't stay. Like I said, going back to the states that they love. Yeah, there is other states, Marlon, but people want to stay in the states that they grew up in and that their family has grown up in, and that's dwindling away.
Man, Julie, I got to step away a minute. I'll be right back. I left you with no hands, no speakers.
No problem. That's
I'll be
fine.
right back.
Anyway, since I'm here blabbering away, I can't bring anybody up because you didn't make me a co-host, so I can't bring you up. But yeah, there's lots of things going on. I mean, we can talk about what people think of the whole Cuba situation with this indictment of Fidel Castro's brother. What they're going to do about it. I mean, Trump says that they're not going to do what they're doing like in Iran. When it comes to Cuba, they are just basically they have nothing right now that he feels that I guess they're going to come to the table anyway. And maybe this is just a scare tactic. I'm not really sure why all of a sudden this is coming out. I mean, they said this has been in the works for years, that they've been wanting to indict this guy for the crimes that he has done against people and the people of our country. So we'll see what happens with that. And, that's going to be something to talk about. So as soon as Marlon gets back, and if you guys want to come up and talk about that, if there's anything else that's, you want to talk about, please come on up and just say what you have to feel. I know Country Biscuit, you came back in, you were talking, I saw in the last space you had put about the what would you call it, the planting with the plants. Now it just escaped my mind what it was called. But anyway, I would love for you to come up and talk about that, because that's great, because I think a lot of people don't know about that. So when like I said, when Marlon gets back and we can get to give out some mics, I would love people to come up and talk about the things that are on their mind or what's going on in their states, because we all know what's going on in New Jersey. We talk about it all the time when we're in here. But I'm sure that your states, you're seeing a lot of different things going on, a lot of changes that have happened over the years. And like I said, there is some change that is good and some change that needs to happen. Don't get me wrong. I'm not living in the Stone Ages, but boy, oh boy, they're really ramping up a lot of different things. And because of this ramping up and what they're doing and the things that they're trying to pull into these states, is making the expenses go way up in these states where the affordability is a big problem. So, I just, would love to hear if you're experiencing the same thing, or it's actually pretty status quo where you are, or doing good. So hopefully he will get back soon, because I am running out of things to say. Oh, Marlon, you got to give me the co-host. So anyway, did anybody else have beautiful weather yesterday? Like high in the 80s, 90s, and then today it just drastically changed. It's very depressing. I want summer, but I mean, I don't want it too fast, but this drastic change I feel like is messing with my mind, messing with me. Well, that's good. At least I know people are listening. I got a couple hundreds and some thumbs up, so that's a good thing. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, guys. You listening to me babble, and Marlon has stepped away, so I apologize that I can't bring anybody up. Thank you, Terry. Thank you. I was just gonna say thank you back. I'm trying. I'm trying. This is a lot of stuff a lot of things that are going on, and I really want to hear from other people. I wish that we could get that dialect going because I think it'd be important. So hopefully the fish will be back soon, and he'll be able to either make me a co-host or he can bring the people up himself. You know, it's just been a crazy couple weeks for me. So I have been in and out of spaces, not really doing too much. Plus, the weather is so nice. I've been out trying to walk almost every day that I'm off, and I do have a co-host now. So if you want to come up and talk, please come up and talk. I really would.
Julie?
Thank you. Please shut me up.
You did a
Sorry about
fantastic
that,
job.
Julie. Thank you, Julie.
We're going to call her Ramblin' Rose. Is what we're going to call her. Oh my goodness. You did a great job, Julie. I just wanted to say hi to everybody this morning. I think that I have a business plan that I would like to share with all of you. I'm kind of thinking off the top of my head, but I really, really, really want to help patients. So I'm thinking of posting just like a or pinning like a really high level assessment form for people to fill out, and then they can submit it to I'll make up a Gmail account, and then on Saturdays I'll host a space just answering those questions. So I'm thinking that's the direction I'm going. Um, and I really hope that you all join that so I can help you guys. But a lot of, how do I get my med? How do I do this? How do I do that kind of stuff? So I'm excited. But Saturdays are the only days I can think of that would work where I could carve out a couple of hours and do that. So I was very inspired by Kiss Muck Carol. So yeah, how is everybody else doing?
We're doing really good. Here's Terry too. We're doing good. Like I said, the weather's a little crazy here. Mother Nature's is a little bipolar, but hey, it's all good. We'll get through this. Like Marlon said, Memorial Day in New Jersey is always a little wonky. Either it's very cold or it's very warm. We don't have like a nice in between for Memorial Day. It's always that. And then after Memorial Day, it's just going to get like the throes of summer is going to come in. So, we're going to have all that good and fun stuff to look forward to. Oh, and the gardening I was talking about was the hydroponics. So I hope Country comes up. I threw her a mic. I would like to hear what she has to say because she said it's not a good thing. You have to throw a lot of pesticides at that too. So I'd be interested because I was not aware of that. So thank you, Country, for saying that in the last space that Marlon had opened. So if you want to come up and talk about it, that'd be great. Hey, Terry, how are you today?
Hey, good morning, Julie and Mr. Marlon. Great topics. And Julie, you did great when Marlon stepped away. I was giving you the thumbs up and the hundreds and the hearts, But one thing I wanted to touch on, and yes, my weather's very bipolar right now. It's 90 one day and 60 the next. But Marlon, you were talking about the home ownership, buying homes. Do you remember that the first time you bought your first home, and you walked into the title office and you signed those papers and they handed you the keys and you walked in that front door and that feeling you had? A lot of people aren't feeling that right now because the rate You know, you got people that are either wanting to downsize, but there's no one wanting to buy their home because the rate's too high. You got your first time homeowners that can't afford the home because they're just so overpriced. I paid 90,000 for my first home in the 90s. At today's dollar, that'd be worth about 170,000. But yeah, just when you were talking about that, I thought to myself that feeling of first owning a home, when you pull up in that drive and you walk inside and you can paint the wall any color you want to paint it. You know, you don't have to call the landlord and get permission. And I'll shut up now.
No, not at all, Terry. And thanks for coming up and supporting. And Julie, it's not easy to step away and just rattle some things off the top of your head. It's not the easiest thing to do. And I love the noticing Zini about as far as the direction there. And I think if people pick it up and you get more ideas, I think that's a great idea. You know, unfortunately, Terry, I've only bought one house in my life. And actually the house that I built, was the very first house I ever bought, right? But I had that same feeling with my son, right? My son, it was exactly that. You know, he went through all the all the paperwork, and he's a first time home buyer, and you know, we went down different criterias where he was offered this or he didn't qualify for that, and luckily, you know, he has a partner that makes just as much money as him. So they're blessed to be able to afford the kind of mortgage that they signed on for. It's an astronomical number, and I was really upset because he settled on this house, Terry, back in January, and I was screaming, man, they dropped that rate. I want that off your rate, and we should go shopping, and blah 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 blah. And it turned out where it really didn't move. The rate hasn't moved since he bought that house. Now that was 3 months ago, and the rates haven't changed yet. Even though they had the information 2 years ago, look at what those kids are facing. Again, I explained this the other day. Coming out of the Carter administration, we were paying 14, 15, 16%. I was just a young kid, so I remember that vividly. It took 20 years for that interest rate to come down to 7.25%, and 7.25% was a good rate. It's not a good rate now. Now that we all experienced the 3 5/8 and the 4% for all those years, now that's what they're used to. Now it's slowed everything. It's slowed the jobs. It's slowed the housing market. Imagine facing that, Terry, now.
Yes, 7%, $400,000 mortgage, you're looking at about a $3,800 a month payment. A lot of people just can't afford that. I think personally that they're sabotaging Trump. It's just as simple as that. They want this economy, the housing market not to explode. They want him to look bad, and I think that's what's going on.
I know coming out of the the Biden administration, that was the reason that they never raised the interest rate or cut the interest rate, because they knew the Trump administration would hit the ground running with an economy that would explode. If they got that interest rate under 5%, everything would go back to normal. Everything, all these jobs would be funded. The mortgages would come down. There's a lot of cascading things here that if they cut that interest rate, it would automatically jumpstart it. And now you got these naysayers saying, no, we can't do that. It doesn't line up with the CPI and the unemployment rate. It just doesn't make any sense. Even the new chairman is saying the same exact thing.
Right on. Yeah.
The new chairman is installed by Trump now.
I know. Miss Julie, I was going to ask you, did you ever figure out why Dan Scavino posted that post? Because I can't figure out who he's referring to.
I don't know if it has to do with the whole Massey thing and why he came out and did what he did, and there's just there was a lot of poo-pooers about that. I'm not really sure. I just thought it was a great thing that he put that out because like I said, he came from nothing, and Trump he stood behind him and said, "No, you have a voice. You're a smart man. You could do this." And look where he is now. And so, if anybody knows Trump, if anybody thinks that they know how Trump is going to really work and the insides and it's the closest besides Melania would be Dan Scavino in my eyes. That's my opinion. Nobody else, yeah, I could be wrong. You can disagree with me, and that's fine. But I'm not really sure why he put that post out, but it might be a lot of the negative talk that's going on with people that are, just basically that were once for him. Now they're turning their back on him.
So some of the Republicans, Terry, are calling him the last stand. Oh, Thomas Massey, he was the last guy. We're screwed. The GOP, they're gonna. Thomas Massey. At the end of the day, this is the same rhetoric I'm getting from the people that are against the war. Oh, this war is a bad idea. Everybody supports this. You know what? It sounds like they didn't live through the 70s like we did. They haven't seen the trillions of dollars that we've given them and Israel at the same time. So, like, at the end of the day, they have no idea what they're talking about. Thomas Massey was really a holdup. In a lot of these bills, he may have been America first, but he's not working for the same team. No way. It shows. He lost his race by 13 or 14 points. Even his own constituents are telling you that, the way they voted. I don't get it.
Oh, you hit it right on the head, Marlon. He's his own worst enemy. Everything that went wrong, he's to blame for. And like in his concession speech, it was like he had won and he was victorious and he was smiling and laughing. It kind of reminded me of that governor of South Carolina whose name escapes me. She was our ambassador. No, the Indian one. What was her name? I should know her name. That's how irrelevant she is. I've already forgot her name. She was the best loser. She would lose a race and she was just like, but that district that he represents, the 4th, was a rural farming district. Those farmers don't care. They really think Israel's got something to do with anything. Everything that went wrong for Massey, he's to blame for. He's the one that didn't vote for Trump's big, beautiful bill, and other bills where all the Democrats opposed it. He'd chime right in with them. So there's that saying, friends grow and enemies accumulate, and he accumulated a few enemies in his own district, and now he's going to be, he'll probably be a great co-host on The View.
What's the word? I'm going to go to you, Dina. What birds of a feather flock together? Isn't that like an old thing? Yep. Dina, how you doing, Dina?
Pretty good. I just was wondering, I'm hearing not just in this space, but other spaces where everyone is calling this a war, and Donald Trump is calling it an operation. Do you think it's helpful to him for us to be referring to it as a war?
No, I'll have to say you're kind of right. Was it designated a war? No. Is it an operation? Yeah. I don't think that we all know the ramifications that's going to come out. No word that the Iranian regime has had a foothold on the Straits of Hormuz my entire life. So let's ease up the trap. We may be paying the pains now, but let's see what actually happens. I mean, I hear the rhetoric. Oh yeah, this is all due to Trump, and you're paying higher prices at the pump because of Trump, and the language is terrible.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that it would be better if we could all just call it an operation until he calls it a war.
Well, you know what? I'm definitely going to agree with that. You know what? Maybe there is a classification, right? Whether or not it was an actual war, interrupting commerce in the Straits of Hormuz is an act of war. I mean, this is rhetoric coming out of even the Republicans that I know.
Right, but we don't have to help them.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Hey, I like it. Yeah. As
Thank
a
you.
matter of fact, now it's an operation. Right?
Thank you, Marlon.
I will. I'll heed that, Dina. So good to see you. Thanks for coming up.
Hey, Dina, real
Hang
quick,
out.
I just wanted to say I agree with you. I actually had an argument with about that with somebody in another space, and you know, I think there's different things that can situate that bring that make it a war as opposed to an operation. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you. But that's what they both sides have been doing to us for years. I mean, look at both sides still call us a democracy. We're not a democracy, but that's what they've instilled in everybody's head. And I've had arguments about that as well with my friends. That we are.
Let's hear. You know what? Let's we're gonna get Mr. Smalls to go, and then we'll go to you, Mitchell. But Mr. Smalls, you know, you're hearing it. You're seeing in Alberta, right on the front lines of everything we're talking about. You know, what's the conception there, Mr. Smalls? You know, I'm really interested because hey, I hear it from even my own Republicans that they're turning in cheek now.
Good morning, everybody. Hope I'm company driving. Yes, Marlon, front lines in Alberta. Well, it's been a while since I've been on stage with you. I personally, because of my research history, it's an operation. It's not about Iran as a country or the people of Iran. Obviously, Trump wants everyone and the world moving into the new system, the golden age. It's really up on this. So it has anything to do with Iran as a country. It has to do with the Lloyds, the London banking cartel, and the systematic destruction of the old world order. I don't really care what Trump calls it. I think it's great. Yeah, prices are up. They're not as high as they were in Biden's era, which was old world auto pen takeover from the person who ran how many billions of dollars overnight from a plane. I think it's all D-class theater on the mainstream. If you've been digging into the history at all, I think you'll see that it's maybe a little bit different than the MSM is trying to propagate the fear for. From my side of things, I think Trump's doing a great job. He's putting eyes on the prize of freedom and unmitigated freedom for the world. He's not just focusing on his own country, which you guys are doing great since he got back in. I am super jealous. If you look around the rest of the world, it's basically doom and destruction and this virus and that virus, and here's a vaccine, and you get a vaccine and a tick box for you. And, you know, it's just a bunch of fear mongering. They need us in a diluted state of frequencies so that they are deemed necessary. So yeah, Marlon, I think it's definitely an operation. It's a military operation to get rid of the old guard. You can see what's kind of spinning up in Cuba now. I think that's going to be amazing. You can see that the Cubans are taking to the streets, fighting for their own freedom, which is amazing. I'm really, from my point of view, as an Albertan, we're pushing towards our independence referendum. There's pushback everywhere because if Canada loses Alberta, they're even more vassal of a nation than they already are. Trump is saying, let's go Alberta Energy down to the States. There's a pipeline project approved. Carney's trying to say, yeah, we'll give you one to BC, but only if we get $170 a ton for carbon pricing. We're currently at 90. Effectively, it'll double our carbon pricing, which is ridiculous. In 2014, oil was $100 a barrel. We were paying 50 cents a liter less. So that's basically $2 a gallon less than we are at this current point. It's all garbage inflation and manipulation, like I said, to harvest loose. Our energy is transferred into the system via work. Work will set you free. That was a famous saying on a certain camp from the 40s. So if you know anything about work, the harder you work, the harder they tax you, the further behind you get. So Marlon, unanimous freedom for all, We must fight. There is, like Trump said, fight, fight, fight. This isn't today. This is years and years and decades of planning. I love all these meme videos that are coming out of Trump. He's been preparing this for his entire life. It was literally a matter of time. We're in the biggest fight, best time in humanity. Wealth and abundance and health for everybody is on the horizon. We must stay focused on truth. We must stay focused on helping our fellow man get through this. Everyone in these spaces are so hyper privileged. We have less than 100 people in here. There are 8 billion people, whatever, if it's true or not. There are so many people that have absolutely no idea. In my country of Kanakistan, people are masking up because the antivirus. And I've been posting and telling my friends the first case of antivirus in Canada was actually in Alberta. It comes from a deer mouse. Stop eating and huffing the mouse turds, you crazy people. And that was last week. Now we're on to Ebola. And oh my God, it's going to kill us all. It's just fear mongering. Stay in the high vibration. Connect with the people that understand. Stop huffing the mouse turds. It'll be okay. The sun is shining through the darkness. We're headed for the light. Thanks, Marlon. I'll yield back, but I wanted to talk a little bit about hunting, so I'll let Mitchell go because I know he's going to absolutely just say positive things to the points that I just made. Mitchell is such a great voice in this movement, so I'll yield to him, and thanks, Marlon.
Well, good to see you, Mr. Smalls. Hey, they put a category out there, and we'll go to you, Mitchell, and then Country Bumpkin. They put a category out there. What country do you think is going to be part of America first? Would it be Cuba, Greenland, or Alberta? Mitchell, how you doing, man? Welcome.
It's good to see you, Marlon. Can you hear me?
Yep, got you.
All right, brother. Good to see you, Julie. Hey, Julie. It's good to see you, too. Dina's right on the money. Mr. Smalls, you nailed it. I just want to mention, the operation, the greatest military operation. Military laws, orders, strategies, tactics, regulations, publications, manuals, directives, all those directives, instructions are not conspiratorial theories, but rather conspiratorial facts. And they are happening in front of our eyes as we speak, guys. I mean, look at this. Look at the executive orders that Trump authorizes. You see, the thing is, that the wartime commander, when you walk into the Federal Reserve, it's captured, gets dissolved, and then it gets rectified externally through the guidance of the military and the U.S. Treasury. Okay? The Federal Reserve is finished. The IRS is abolished. We're going to a gold standard, no income tax, no capital gains tax, no inheritance tax, and certainly no property taxes, because it's taxation without representation, which equals treason. Not to mention all the treachery and the treasonous coup to overthrow a wartime commander in 2019 and 16. They just didn't get away with it because the military was behind Trump, the good guys. This is a war being fought for many years, at least 9 since Trump transferred the power, Marlon. Remember that, everybody? January 20th, 2017. We are transferring the power from not one establishment to the other, not Republican and Democrat, because they're all a bunch of losers and traitors and jackasses. They're all part of the swamp, okay? But we are transferring it from not from one establishment to the other, but from Washington, D.C., the cabal stronghold since 1871, to you, the people, and giving it back to you, the people. And in that 5-second ceremony, biblical as it was, militarily as it, thank God, was as well, who was standing behind Trump, ladies and gentlemen? The judge advocate generals. And who are they assigned to? What duties are they assigned? To hunt and arrest and try and execute traitors, as Trump turned and said, I want the hunted. I'm the hunter. Oh, yes, he is the hunter. And they're hunting, guys. And also the military intelligence servicemen, the highest loyalists. We call them the loyalists. It's not about Republicans, Democrats. It's about loyalists of the Republic, from the state, local, federal, global, military, ABC agencies, to us, to the Fed, and the judiciary, executive, legislative branches, and traitors. Loyalists at every level, including us in this room, all of us in this room. We are loyalists to God's law, to God's children, to the godly holy land of our republic, to our godly commander, who has authorized God's laws in the form of military laws and orders, as he just did with the Clarity Act, because Congress has been captured. same as the Supreme Court, because when you have treason, you are, and the Brunson brothers case, and which was denied by the Supreme Court justice, at least 6 of them, and you have 3 patriotic, which are Kavanaugh, which they tried to kill him destroy him with a witch hunt, but they didn't. They couldn't, just like they did with Trump. They couldn't destroy him. They couldn't demonize him. They couldn't vilify him and defame him. You know, Kavanaugh, Justice Alito, and Clarence Thomas working with the Brunson brothers. The other ones are under arrest. They've already been under arrest, okay, for a long time. Over 400 senators under arrest. Remember in 2019 when the military turned their backs on Biden? Well, that was a dash. That was a puppet government, 45-47. Okay, Trump always, you know, the art of central casting. So again, Dina, you are 100% right. It is certainly an operation. And look, I just want to mention again, look at the Clarity Act. We don't need the Federal Reserve Act because guess what? It's treasonous and it has been shut down, just like the US Inc. We're back to sovereignty, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be getting incredible restitution. Mr. Smalls was talking about this. We're going into a greatest golden age, okay? And it's not years away, it's right around the corner. But we have been placed in a continuity of governance, which is a military containment unit, in order to avoid massive civil war and all of us going into the dark ages and waking up one morning, God forbid, and 50, 60, 70, 100 miles, 200 miles around us, we don't see anybody. Because our population was reduced from 8 billion to 500 million because they lost control and wanted us all dead. That's why Trump ran. That's why he authorized military laws and orders to neutralize all evil, seize all the property, the gold, the assets, everything from the cabal, neutralize them, then rectify the systems and transition us to the golden age through what is about to happen, disclosure. And it's important to understand that. So you see executive orders override federal law. Okay, the Federal Reserve Act. It's null and void. Okay, it's gone. It's executive orders, and these executive orders are military laws and orders. So yes, nothing can stop what is coming, Marlon. The best and greatest military operation the world has yet to understand. We do, we know, the Anons do, and we've been vilified for it. Well, that cute, hard, conspiratorial QAnon nut job, Mitchell. You're going on about all this nonsense and all the arrests and Hillary Clinton being arrested. What are you talking about? But now they're keeping quiet. Now they're paying attention. Now they're flipping up and saying, actually, you know what, Mitch? Sorry about calling you such a nut job and a cutard. You're actually making sense because I'm seeing what's happening. Blessed are those who believe before they see, because those who believe have done the work. They've studied the Law of War Manual, the Military Justice Act, the executive orders of 13959, 13848, 13818, and the rest, over 400. And 250 are not even on the Federal Registry. Think about that. So again, you in real time, a wartime commander is transitioning us to common law, godly law. It's the resurrection and the rededication of our republic in our world to godly law. Isn't it great? Isn't it grand? The best is yet to come, Marlon. And I'm also proud of you holding the line. And those who are just waking up or didn't instinctively reject the truth, well done to you too, because you're opening up. It's the greatest awakening that we can see, and it's biblical. So again, it's incredible. And I'll just land with this. Sorry, 10 more seconds. You'll have no income tax very soon. Gold standard. You're going to get a lot of restitution, folks. So think about how you like to serve in terms of humanitarian projects, because you have a lot of money which has been stolen from you back, so you can take care of your family. You will be working, of course. There's a whole new situation coming, whole new, and the dollar's not collapsing. It's revaluing back to gold. It's the digital USTN, the new US Treasury note backed by gold, signed by Trump. Thanks, Marlon. God bless you.
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, some of his PR hasn't done him justice. You know, they take every little point. I can tell you one of the pushback, and I'm going to go to you, country. One of the pushback is that the DOJ has blocked the investigation into the Trump family. And now they're all, oh, see, he's got everything to hide. And, now, wait a minute. Now, if there was wrongdoing, do you think he would have been elected in 16 or 20? These allegations of raping young girls would have came out then. They were in charge of the CIA and that Epstein files then. So the argument is very weak when they may sound really tough up front, but it's very weak with the evidence that they really have and watching what's going on. I think a lot of things that are going around on the planet, you took chokehold out of this black entity. You see it, Venezuela, now Cuba, Iran. They took all the bad players out of it. So let's see what happens. I think it needs a little bit more time to bake. So let's see. Hey, I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable just like every other American, Mitchell. I'm questioning why we should be paying for this war or this not war. It's an operation. Why are we paying for it? Because JP Morgan Chase and OPEC are making sure that the American people pay for this war. I'm sorry, country. Mitchell, do you want to respond real quick and we'll go to country?
Yeah, because I have to hit on. Well, the bottom line is that, what Trump had to go up against and authorize for the military, the good guys, the loyalists, to take down and then save us and protect us and rescue the children. I mean, it's been a multi-dimensional war, a fifth generational warfare. And so, again, what we're about to go into is the greatest transition, greatest transfer of wealth, greatest relief, freedom. It's not years away, Marlon. It's right around the corner, and we can see that with Trump and everything that is happening. I'm very excited. I'm very grateful. And no financial advice, but I would say the same thing for medical advice. Get some fenbendazole or ivermectin. I would get a little XRP, even if it's 10 XRP or XLM, because you guys are going to be very happy. Anyway, God bless you, Marlon. The best is yet to come, man. You're going to be celebrating very shortly. July 4th.
I've been watching XRP. I've been watching XRP.
Why XRP and my XLM?
Let's go ahead, country. How you doing? Thanks for being patient. Then we'll go to Mr. Smalls, or Gen X.
Yeah. I've heard several things mentioned. I can't reply to all of it. It's just too much. But judge ye by ye fruits is what my father says. And the fruits right now are high gas, fentanyl deaths, no mass deportations, and bombing children. So those are the facts.
You have receipts.
So I guess, yeah. Hold on, country. I guess you're not happy with what's going on. I mean, we're looking at that. Did you just say Trump is bombing kids?
I'm sorry, I heard part of your question. You cut out for a second.
I'm sorry. I don't know the frustration there. You kind of rattled off three different things there. I mean, obviously you're not in agreement to what's going on, and you're looking for the fruit. That's pretty much what?
No, that's not it. I guess you don't read your Bible. My father told me to judge ye by your fruits, what you produce. And right now, Trump has produced, or this government. Trump's not in charge, so I'm not worried about that. The Federal Reserve controls us, manipulates us. You spoke earlier about worrying about children these days, being able to afford a house. And if the Fed would lower interest rates, that would help. How about we get rid of the Fed and we get rid of usury? Because usury is against God and nature. It's against humanity. And we are absorbed in it in this country because we use, and throw away.
I'd agree with that.
I can
I think
answer.
I think kids are up against a insurmountable hike in real estate. Okay, and I think at some point it's going to crash back down. That's what they're calling for here, right? I just heard the Fed is going to raise the rate here, right? But 2 years ago, we know that they had the right information to be able to cut those rates 2 years ago. I believe that administration coming out of the Joe Biden, even into Trump, has cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, country. Okay, I lost all kinds of business. The number one solar company went out of business. I was doing fit outs for them every month. Hundreds of thousands of dollars is out of my pocket. No doubt about that. Okay, country, you want to answer?
Okay, there's another prime example. If you were doing solar, you're destroying the planet. solar panels are not helpful to the environment. They destroy the environment. They destroy water. They destroy in the production of making one solar panel. I can drive a diesel truck for 50 years and not burn as much carbon and destroy the planet. See, everyone's got everything confused on what's good and what's bad. I mean, I understand you have a good heart and you try to do things probably that are right. I have friends that worked on those solar panels. They needed to pay their bills and they needed to feed their children. But in the end, their grandchildren are going to have dirty, nasty water.
Hey, I'm in total agreement with you. You know, I was one of the first ones come on this platform to speak out against green energy and the windmills that were going on. So I think maybe, you know, what I'm really evaluating is somewhere in the middle, right? We're looking to strike somewhere in the middle. It's the same thing with the hysteria with the data centers. If you knew that the data centers were there to protect us and produce an iron dome for America, would you agree with that? You know, they just showed you that Iran had the capability of hitting Europe and intercontinental missiles. So would you be happy with that if the data center?
In the 70s, when you talked about Iran attacking us, and all those were false flags. Every single time, Iran has not done anything to us, and they've been trying to get a nuclear weapon for 50 years, it seems like, but they haven't never got one. They've never harmed any Americans.
Well, hey, you know, hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, right? Whether
That's
it's
not an
false
opinion,
flags or
sir.
not.
That's not an opinion. That's fact. That's not an opinion. That's fact. My father was in Vietnam. He has 4 Purple Hearts. He went over to that fucking war for nothing. For nothing.
When you swear,
Well,
like
listen, hey,
you get removed.
yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So I get it. I see where the frustration. I had World War II vets in my family. I had people from Korea. I had the same Vietnam that you just referenced where they were being spit on in Philadelphia airport. So, you know, look, we've all experienced this country and we're allowed to have different maybe outcomes, right? Have we swallowed the propaganda from since we were kids? I'm about the same age. Yeah, I remember all that. Do we get a reset here? Do we get on some kind of information disclosure? You know, shooting for somewhere in the middle country, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Hey, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I don't know that is true. I mean, he came in and spread a lot of facts that, you know, Trump killing kids, and you know, I think that's half the problem, right? That's exactly what the social media platforms are doing. That's exactly the text I got from somebody that was a Republican that is now on that tick. I mean, hey, let's go pick out and pin on Trump everything that's happening. But it's all Trump's fault. It's the manipulation of the Fed. It's, you know, it's Israel. It's the Jews running our Congress. Well, let's get some facts out here and let's see what happens. Ben, would you like to add in? Then we go to Jeannie.
Yeah, sure. For me, I came up because I wanted to talk about what was going on with like the housing market and stuff like that. One of the things that I try to say as often as possible is we are getting to the age, Gen X, where we're going to have to start sorting out our boomer parents' real estate and everything else. I would suggest to anyone, do not sell. Do not sell property. Do not sell homes. The only way that you can have upward mobility and generational wealth is to keep it in the family. And if, oh, well, what are we going to do? It's not going to be equal for everybody. Have a freaking lottery. Have all the grandkids put their names in, and whoever wins, wins, but it stays in the family. And it's not sold to outside companies that are exacerbating all of our house values. I have a paid off home, and I know all of the calls that I get on that home, all of the texts, and I've never looked into selling. I've never looked into having it refied or a backwards mortgage or anything. There is no way that my name is on a list other than the fact that they can search records and find out, public records, and find out that the house is paid off. That's the only way they're doing it. And I get at the start of every month a shit ton of calls. Sorry about that. And I get it was
like
yeah,
that.
right? Just like that. And I get texts and everything, emails, all sorts of stuff. These are generated outside of the country by the two big companies that run everything. And once I sell my home, it's with the highest bidder, I guarantee you, is not going to be a person. It is going to be a company. And so when you're looking at that going forward, that's what's really driving a lot of this. Companies want us in the new global order, want you to rent your life. They don't want you to own anything because then that gives you generational wealth and you have the ability to move up in the chain. They want to go back to us all being peasants and having that monarchy of only a certain amount of people are going to be wealthy. So please, just stop selling the homes. Stop spreading out money, which literally goes down in value. The minute that you get that money, it goes down in value. The dollar is losing value, but your property in that home is not going to lose value. So make a freaking lottery, or whoever is married and has kids gets the house, whatever you can do. Encourage the kids. Hey, all the grandkids, you know what? You know who gets this house? Whoever gets married and has kids first. That's who gets this house. Until then, we're just going to keep it and rent it out ourselves. But whoever gets married and has kids gets this house first. Talk about birth boom. A baby boom would happen if we did stuff like that. And we just all need to get on the same page. Stop selling the houses, keep them for your families, keep that property for your families. Even that vacation property you have, keep it for the family. Somebody could build a house on it. That's it.
And then you know what,
Yeah.
Jen? New Jersey. I'm sorry, Marlon. What they're doing in New Jersey is if you don't want to sell that property and you want to hold on to it, especially if it's farmland, they're taking it by eminent domain. I mean, this is where it's all going. It's bad, and I agree with you, man. If you have a property, do not sell that property. If you can help it, pass it down in your family, keep it, and fight for what's yours because it is yours, especially if you paid it off. I'm sorry, Marlon, are you there?
Yep, sorry about that. Stuff on the scene. Go ahead, Jeannie, and then we'll go to Mr. Smalls, and right away, Marlon's the bad guy. It's all good. I'll take it. Go ahead, Jeannie.
Yeah, where did that guy go? Is
I
this
dropped him. So I'm the bad person, Jeannie. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
dropped him because
Well-
he's swearing and he was being belligerent. And it's okay to have this debate, but then when you're coming in without facts and you're saying that Trump is killing children, come on,
Right.
that's not a debate anymore. That's your
Right.
opinion.
What I wanted to say to him was, when you're reading that Bible, pray for discernment. But that would have been gnarly. So
He wants to question whether or not I've read my Bible. Obviously, I
Right.
didn't understand fully what he said, and the gradation starts there, right?
right. And it's just like you can't be bouncing like a jelly or a Mexican jumping bean. What do they call that thing? And then try to make your point. It's like chill the out and let's come together and let's figure this out together because I know my brain needs everybody's support. So I wanted to tell my story just very quickly. When in 1979, I was 16 years old. My dad grabbed my hands and he looked so scared. I've never seen my dad scared. He said, "They're going to destroy the middle class. You're going to have to fight your government someday." And I just looked at him and he said, "You're going to have to rebel against your government." And all I said was, "Oh, okay." I had no clue what people are
It didn't have any meaning then, Jeannie.
Oh,
It didn't have any meaning.
I had no idea. Well, then God throws me into healthcare, and I watched for 30 years how how it all works. It's all in a network of destruction of the middle class. And it's like, how did I end up being in healthcare anyway? You know, what? And I really know that it was God wanted me to see all that stuff, right? Um, I do believe the golden age is near. I personally think that we're all going to be partying and drinking and being merry and all this other stuff. That Jesus is going to say, "Hello, I'm here, I'm home," and that's when people are going to start freaking. Because I completely understand this AI stuff. The reason why I want to get a business going and a business started is so that I can help people avoid what I see happening on AI. Because y'all are going to go out there and start diagnosing yourself, and you're going to go out there and start doing shit on AI, and it's not good. So you gotta work with a real live person, an old school nurse, an old school doctor who have seen and experienced working with patients, not people who are following the guidelines and telling you shit based on uh, what the government studies show. No, we need to be realistic, and the health of a person is contingent on one thing, and that's the relationship they build with their whoever. That's what keeps you healthy. Without that, we can't start anything. So I'm just preaching to the choir. I know that. And thank God I have the opportunity to do so. But everybody chill out. We are at war with London. When everybody gets that through their heads, it will all start to make sense. We are not at war with Iran. We are at war with London. And when you start looking at it from that viewpoint, it all starts to make sense. China makes sense. Russia makes sense. Canada, everything starts to make sense when you start looking at it through the eyes of what's going on in London. All right. Thank you, Marlon.
Besides that, Janie, I think that there would be opportunities that Iran could have came to the table and settled this after the Midnight Hammer, right? And then there was Epic Fury, and now there's this last one they're calling this operation. I forget what they're. So regardless, why wouldn't the Iranians just come to the table then? Why all the cat and mouse thing, and there's still even subverting some kind of contract with the U.S. here. So, is it Iran? Did they have their foot on the boot of every ship that came in and out of the Straits of Hormuz? I would say yes, and they're looking to raise it. You're feeding, whether or not Iran did anything to us or not. It's more of what Iran projected this entire time since we saw the hostages on that plane for 107 days.
Marlon, that's a really good question. And I think that we need to figure out the answer to that because.
Right. If they got the answer, then Jeannie, come in here competently and tell me an answer. Don't degrade me as you go.
Right. So I think that the Iranian, the Hezbollah, whatever it's called, I don't know what it is, but they are the minions, right? Doing the dirty work of Britain and the monarchy and the imperialistic Lloyds of London. That's your cabal. They're the ones pulling the strings. And I think Iran is just the toys at the end of the string. Now, I don't understand. China's in the mix there somewhere. Russia's, I don't understand that direction over there. But
how could we? How could we? We could never have the right information anyway.
Right, right. Well, I hear people on here talking about it's Israel. It's like, you fools. Come on. I mean, come on. Really? If you read the Bible, then you know how this all started, and it's been the same ever since. Come on. I can't get there, man.
Yeah, hey, and again, hey, that's what gives America the United States and the right for everybody to have their own opinion. That's great about the U.S., huh? Go ahead there, Mr. Smalls, and then we'll go to Gen X and then take back Joe.
Yeah, wow. My people will perish for their lack of knowledge. Has to be my go-to biblical verse. It rings true for every aspect of my life, every career, every choice, everything I do is hyper researched. I don't know why. It's just the way I'm built. Yeah, I'm on the spectrum. Pattern recognition is something that I hold very close to my heart because it is a superpower. Okay, when was the last time any of you walked into your doctor's office and sat down and had a meaningful conversation with them, eye to eye, face to face, without them logging into their system to punch in your symptoms and spit out a prescription? He scribbles a pad, you go to the Loosh farm, you take the medicine, you come back in a week. If that didn't work, you go again and again and again. And if you can't understand those patterns, you're lost. There is so much at play. We are only read in as far as we can because if the humanity as a whole understood what has happened to humanity for the X amount of forever, we would absolutely be out in the streets doing terrible things. Children, adults, men, women. Yes, there's only two genders. In the, what is it? In the reflection of me, I created my people. When was the last time you looked into who prints the Bible? Who owns the rights to the new Bible? If, like, I want to say it was Jenny, but it wasn't. It was Janine, maybe. Yeah, you know what? The Bible is an amazing tool, but the newest rendition of the Bible is owned by the Crown. You said we're fighting the London Lords. Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. If you look into Ghislaine Maxwell's father, he owns the printing press and the rights that's owned by the collegial group of England. There is so much perversion and bastardization of the word because if we truly followed and had all the books, we would be better for it. There are so many things under the veil. That's where the light comes in. Stay strong to the faith that there is better for humanity and it's on the way. The banking system is corrupt. The health system is corrupt. The school system is corrupt. The government is corrupt. How do we have truance if we cannot have something that is true? Everything that we've been systemically put into a machine, even, I don't want to say the word, but the certain people that everyone thinks control the world was put in place by a certain set of people that control the banks, top down. Housing markets, all of those things that have been brought up into this conversation are run by a very, very tight group of people that are being exposed at a hyper rate right now. Of course, they're going to do anything that they can to take the eyes and the heat and the smoke, because where there's smoke, there's fire. The new system is not going to just like pop up without resistance. Of course, we're called crazy because hundreds of years of brainwashing our parents' generation, on and on. I want to finish with this because it brings much joy to my heart. Um, I have three children. My middle child has just found someone to be with. He is a very studious young man. He's actually a farmer. He's in farming program. Marlon, you understand the school I go to for my bus driving job, but he is actually now going to be inheriting farm from his parents and his grandparents. They were chicken farmers, but it sounds like they're changing over to be agriculture more than meat birds, because the industry for meat birds up here in Canada is just incredibly sick and twisted. So yeah, any small victory that you can shed light on, If you're going to read into the Bible, which I suggest everyone does, it's an amazing history of what happened pre us. Please, please, please find the oldest Bible you can. You're gonna spend $100, $3,000, $5,000, but it won't have the bastardized teachings of the cabal that has been trying to kill every single human. In Canada, it's very sick. In Ontario, you can abort, this is the words now, you can abort with MAID a child that you do not want. Please listen to my words, people. You can abort a child that you do not want. There is no 9 months, there is no year. They are saying that if your child comes out and it's not what you want, you can abort it with MAID, medical assistance in death. They allow you to go into the hospital and murder your born child now. That is what they are proposing in my country. It is sick, it is twisted, it's been manipulated for centuries. I don't know what else to say. It's just so sad. I wish everyone the best of days. Fortunately for me, I've arrived at my destination unharmed. I'm going to yield back. Please, everybody, pray up. Shit is changing and it needs to. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be rough. Prepare. And anyone that asks questions, try to point them in the right direction. You all have a blessing that many people in this world do not. Thank you, Marlon. Great space. We'll get in the back channels for hunting. I really want you to be one of the first to bag a big buck, or maybe we'll get a moose in the new Republic of Alberta. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Mr. Small, thanks for coming up. And hey, that's a little different perspective than really the Americans get, right? You know, Canadians, I'm really close to a lot of people up there where he lives. They live and breathe freedom. You know, they are Americans at the end of the day. Real quick before we go on, I want to say hello to Truth. Truth, thanks for coming up. I know you had a busy day today. Man, I hope you enjoyed the break.
Yeah, time went by quick this morning. I guess I missed out on a bunch of stuff, so I'll have to go back and listen. But it's good to see Julie here. I didn't see her the last few days in the space.
Amen, amen. Jen, do you want to jump in there? We'll go to Take Back Cuervo Joe. If you guys got time, guys.
Yeah, I just wanted to go on to language. So remember when they went after Kavanaugh, they were calling him a rapist for a story uncorroborated by the chick of a fully clothed teenage boy laying on top of a fully clothed teenage girl with zero penetration. To this day, there are people that will quote him as being a rapist. And they've conquered that word so that now what's funny is when I see those same people claim that Trump, is a rapist, I laugh because I'm like, that word has no meaning coming from your mouth. You called Kavanaugh a rapist. So that means if Trump laid on top of somebody fully clothed with zero penetration, maybe I'll believe you. Like, yes, under that definition, we'll call him a rapist. So you have to watch the words that are used. Now, the tone that was from that gentleman that came up is one that is the same tone of people I hear who denounce God, okay? Because if there was a God, there would be no cancer, right? And this is a absolute things should be this way because that's the right way. And if they're not that way, then everything's wrong. That's that's so surface level. There is no thinking in that. There is no way that anyone could step into office, snap their fingers, and put us in the type of government that we, the people, want. There's no way to make that happen without absolute effing chaos. So to be mad that this isn't happening right now, that's child mentality. That is the 5-year-old asking why everything isn't fair everywhere and no one dies. Like, what? That makes zero sense. Also, he used the wrong definition for usury in the Bible a few times. So I got lost in what he was trying to say. I understand the frustration, but this is not an immediate thing. And you know what? I am the type of person that will plant a tree and has planted a tree that I will never enjoy the shade of. You know, my children might and my grandchildren will. But that's how you go forward in life. You plant trees that generations after you will enjoy the shade of. And to expect an immediate transference is for chaos and thousands and millions of people to die. So be reasonable in what your expectations are when it comes to what's happening. For me, I'm just glad stuff is happening, period. And watch the language that people use. And yes, I have people in Ontario who just escaped to Hungary, and they have to go there for so many weeks out of a year in order to get citizenship. So they're moving to Hungary out of Ontario because of the laws that have changed there. They live in a socialist country. And the funny thing is that he was born in Hungary when it was a socialist country and had more freedom at that time than he does in Ontario right now. That's how bad it is. So anybody who talks about the joys of Canada is an absolute effing idiot. The end.
They've never been there, Jen. You know, there's a lot. There's not many provinces. The only province I haven't been to is Newfoundland and on the East Coast there. Every other province except Saskatchewan. I've never been to Saskatchewan. These people are they're freedom loving, God fearing Christians. Who they are. I don't understand this manipulation. But you're only hearing out of some of the smaller classes, the ones they want to give the voice to, right? They just showed you. You know, you can go to the doctor as a voice your child, and it sounds like there's no restrictions on that. Go ahead, Julie, and then we'll go to Take Back Cuervo.
Yes, thank you. Sorry. Truth, I apologize. I was just doing something. I couldn't get to my phone, so check your DMs. Jen, thank you for saying that. That's exactly what I wanted to say, but I was just kind of mad at him, so I just dropped him. So that was on me. This had nothing to do with Marlon. He would not have dropped him. He does not like that to be done in his space, but I did it because when you come in that hot and that heavy and you're so angry, but you don't have any receipts with you, that's a problem. I'm not opposed to people having different opinions, but state that this is your opinion. And just like you were saying, everything is Trump's fault. The guy has been in office for 2 years, but everything is all of a sudden his fault. Come on. If that's what your excuse is, or you're using that as an excuse, then you've got no excuse. You're just following and parroting what other people that are really trying to black pill are trying to dissuade you from what is going on in this world and the problems that we're having to one person. And that's not right. So thank you for saying that. And I wish I would have said that instead of dropping him, but I was kind of mad. So that's my fault, guys. I take that upon myself, and it was me.
No worries, Julie. So look, hey, I understand. Hey, people are allowed to have their own opinions. You know, I think we just have to use a little bit, and don't tear me down when they come in and do it. I would be just fine. I'm ready to have that debate. Am I happy about what's going on with the beef industry and what the deal they just made with China? And we know what's going on with the IRA. I'm not happy about that at all. You know, there's a lot of things that I've pushed back on the Trump administration and J.D. Vance. And, you know, people just think I'm some kind of MAGA sucker up here. No, I know that Trump has the best policies going forward. Could you imagine the way that we would be? If you want to take a sneak peek at what socialism really is, if Kamala would have got in there, look at New York and New Jersey right now. They have ushered in socialism in the northeastern part of this country. All right, you cannot tell me any different. Anyway, let's go to Take Back with the Cuervo.
Hey, Marlon, thanks for the mic, and it's good to see everybody here. I haven't been active the last 3 or 4 days because my phone filled up with, I'm downloading too many videos, and I couldn't get on X, but everything's cleared up now. So I want to revisit the real estate deal, since I am a real estate broker, and I belong to a group of real estate investors. We have 800 members here in South Jersey. We meet 2 or 3 times a week. We've educate people on many aspects of real estate investing. Some of our investors own or manage 100 properties individually. So it's not always the corporations buying up the properties, but they do raise the prices on the properties because they want to buy up all of them. So if anybody in South Jersey wants to learn about real estate investing, or even if you're not in South Jersey, we have a membership where we have our videos online. There's things that we're not, I bought over half a dozen properties myself, and before I was in the group. So when I joined the group and then I started going to the meetings, and I said, holy shit, I could buy the property using that method. Nobody ever told me that. Even as a realtor, they never told us how to invest in properties and how to buy properties, but there's ways to buy properties with no money down. It's not real easy, and you have to know a lot and do some research and get some education. But you know what? All of our problems are solved by education. The same way with the Constitution, not using the Constitution when we go to the legislature and not reading the founding founding fathers' papers and understanding, the purpose of government. We have to do it. Education solves a lot of problems. And just like somebody had mentioned earlier, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And how do you get knowledge? And how do you get the oomph or the solitude of standing on your solid ground? It's with education and knowledge of the facts, and reading having multiple advisors, which this is all biblical, and this is how you get actually get a passion for standing up what's right and knowing what's right. So, that's why you hear me talking about the Constitution constantly, because that's the solution, along with the founding fathers and how they created the Constitution. You have to remember, when the Pilgrims came over, they came over with a group of people, and more people came over all the time in Jamestown and Williamsburg, Virginia. Those were the 2 places where the people came first. And you have to remember, they were separated from England. So they had the English common law and the government of England as their backdrop. But here, when they came to America, they had no government, basically, right? It was them. So they formed villages, and then they decided they had to get together in their village, and maybe another group came over and tried to take over their property, because now they had built houses and stuff like that, shelter, because there was no shelter here, right? And people came over and were trying to take their houses. So they had to form like a group, a government. And then this just grew and grew and grew until they got to have industrial, or not, well, it wasn't industrial back then, but they had agricultural communities, right? And then they took the sheriff from England. The sheriff was the chief peacekeeping officer of the county in England, and they brought that over. They brought a lot English common law to America, and then they established American common law, because the British common law wasn't quite what we know now as American common law. So you have to understand the migration of people from Europe into the America, and how they structured and created government, and they changed from the monarchy and the structure of the monarchy, and even with the English common law, to a more freedom area, or a more freedom society. Self-governance based. The Great American Experiment was self-governance based. So you have to understand that. That's why we have to go back to the republic, which is our founding fathers created the republic. Right now, it's not even a democracy. They've gone from a republic to a democracy, and now it's actually a tyranny where they're telling you what to do. And if you follow Brandon James 844 here, he has like videos are 3 to 5 or 10 minutes long, and they talk about the state constitutions. If you read the state constitutions, Bill of Rights and Declaration of Rights, we're supposed to instruct the government. The government's not supposed to instruct us. So this is where, excuse me, Matt. This is where we have to get to. We have to understand that and how to do it. So, and Marlon, we should get together and spend like a half hour, 45 minutes, because we're not that far away, and we got to get something
You
going.
know what? I meant to reach back out to you and tell you that hey, my schedule will lighten up beginning of next week. We'll definitely get that in. For sure.
Sounds good.
coming up.
Yep.
Go ahead, Nick.
I was just gonna, excuse me, I was just gonna jump in there. Julie, I honestly thought that you kicked him because he threw the F-bomb in with his last comment. And I was like, oh, there
Oh,
he
he did.
goes.
He did. You know, that's the other aggravating part, right? Everybody knows. I've been on here long enough. Everybody knows, and they do it on purpose. I don't give a shit.
That's honestly why I thought she kicked him. And then she was like going on about all this other stuff and didn't mention it. I was like, oh, I thought it was because he threw that in there. Honestly, I would have kicked him right then there too.
Well, I usually like to warn them. You know, everybody gets a warning. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's been around. No, but that's intentional. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
Marlon,
Joe, how you doing? Yeah.
you're a much nicer person than I am. Just saying.
It's just, look, we're not going to get anywhere. If we continue with that and we stay on that, we're not going to get anywhere. And that's what I feel like sometimes. Hey, we're just throwing it against the wall and it ain't sticking, you know, and we got to revamp. Anyway, let's go to Joe. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing good. There are, when I heard about the discussion of at some points we have to rebel against government, partially true, by nonviolent means if possible. And in terms of data centers in Ohio, there are many areas where they are putting a moratorium on data centers, and with cause, because the resources are limited. Where the resources don't cause harm to neighboring regions, I'm for them. Here, it would not work. It's 11,000 people. The data center grew, or it hasn't yet been built, but it grew from an initial 200 acres up to 900 acres, which is close to what they call data center campuses. And we don't have a choice for our survival and our security. We have to fight back, and we'll be fighting back with an initiative petition. And it's a practical thing. This is about survival of the people in this city. On healthcare, I was noting what the woman who said who worked in the industry made the things that made her question, which is good, because when the whole truth comes out about allopathic medicine and the two-step dance that begins with poisoning the patient and ends with treating the symptoms and repeating time after time, and we get back to purity and find out that organs that decline early in life don't have to, we'll realize that we're already on that path. Removing these toxicants from the body will prepare us for the next pandemic or scamdemic. And I'll drop the mic there.
Somebody commented, you know, are we united? You know, no way. I felt like we were united right after 9/11, and then we saw how they kind of tore that Patriot Act apart and really, you know, understood what happened to the Visa Accord and how they were manipulated and how they really intruded on Americans' rights with that, right? You know, are we united? That's the only time I really felt it is right after 9/11. I think every American in the world, regardless whether you're a blue, left, or center, everybody was out there raising the flag of the United States. I don't feel that anymore. I feel like that rhetoric that came out of Country Bumpkin, which I have a lot of respect for him. I know all these guys. You know, we've been in spaces before. I'm not there to desecrate him or tell him he's wrong. I don't have the right to do that, but I do have the right to believe in what I believe in. So I can't waste my time worrying about exactly every move and why is he ushering in Palantir and why is BlackRock at the table in the China summit and, you know, all this stuff, right? I mean, again, we don't know half of the information, a quarter of the information to be able to even come up with a competent plan like they have. Anything that they talk about is not going to fix a thing. It's a nothing burger. It's the same thing as the Israel and Jew, right? Oh yeah. Oh, no doubt. We know that they're instituted into our Congress and our Senate. We understand. We know. I don't understand why they want to come in and just tear me down because, hey, we didn't exactly thinking the way that they are. That's wrong, man. That's wrong. Anyway, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I was just going to comment. I don't go down all those rabbit holes. I'm focused on the ones. Oh, I'm sorry. You called in, Jen.
No, you're right, Joe. That's what maybe the whole moral of the story is to get our head out of our asses and stop trying to deal with something that you have no outcome for, right? You don't have a solution. You're just saying, "Oh, Trump's bad, Trump's bad, Trump's bad." Could you imagine what it would be if the Biden regime was allowed to continue with Kamala Harris at the wheel? What is their solution? Okay, you rip Trump out of here. You're gonna go put Rubio in? Who's your guy? Well, Ron DeSantis out of Florida when he's connected all the black money. I mean, come on, the argument is ridiculous. Yeah.
I just wanted to speak to self-sufficiency. So, you know, with the ticks and the videos that are out about that, there's a lot of natural antibacterial, which is what all of those things come from, is a bacteria. So there's a lot of research you can do yourself and a lot of things you can change in your eating habits and things that you can put into your body that can protect you against that rather than having to stand in line and wait for a jab and all of those things. As far as like, you know, the peaceful non-compliance. We've already rebelled with peaceful non-compliance for everybody who did not stand in line to get the jab and did not wear the masks that were unnecessary and did not stay in our homes and stop socializing and stop having communications with people in person, you know, and refuse to not have a funeral for a loved one who passed during that time or go to a wedding or celebrate a birth. You know, you don't
I
have to
buried my
have.
father in that, Jen. Jen, I buried my father during that, and there were people that didn't go there because of COVID.
Yeah, it was crazy. There's a lot of people that waited almost 2 years to have memorials and things like that. And in that time, you know, we have these gatherings to say goodbye to a person as a process that's natural. It occurs in elephants. It occurs in, you know, wild animals, yet we refuse that for humanity. And it made no sense. We told people they couldn't go to church and worship together at that time. It was insanity. And for anybody who did not do that, you did rebel against your government. You did rebel against the new religion that was occurring within our government that is going to lead to the globalist, well, they want it to lead to the globalist takeover to keep us all basically in a prison. You know, where humanity must be subverted and limited to such a number, yada yada. Georgia guidestones that were knocked down had all of it on there. I mean, they've told us time and time again what the plan is, and you know, most of us know, and most of us are already making efforts to become self-sustainable, to change things in ourselves and our diet, so we don't have to go to the doctor and get the pill, so we don't have to go and get the shot, so that we could withstand the storm that they're going to try to throw at us. Because, you know, the one thing that power hates is the ability for other people to become powerful. And you know, the funny thing that I always hear repeated with a lot of, you know, socialists and people who think they're the rebels is eat the rich. And I've literally looked at people and said, so you want to be a cannibal? And they're like, no, 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 that's not what we mean. No, that's literally what your words are saying. You want to eat the rich. So you've already told me everything about yourself. You're a disgusting Satanist who would eat a human. So you're not even allowed in society. So I don't have anything else to hear from you.
Again, that's what they're saying. Mondami is putting this out. They put a metric out there. If you had a $5 million home, your new surcharge plus all the taxes plus all your utilities, everything, you would have to pay an extra $325,000 a year tax on that property. So Mondami is doing exactly that. How many rich people do you think have 2 apartments in New York now? How many do you think are moving out of New York because Mondami just put up the flag and we're gonna cripple any business that comes to New York? That's basically what he said.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be bombed out, which is, it's sad because that is an icon for America. It was, one of the first settlements and one of the places where industry started. It should be our shining, jewel in our crown of our, experiment of governance. But I kind of see it. I'm going to white pill everybody because everybody's watching. Okay, so all of those people who said, but if they did socialism right, it would work. Well, we're watching it in real time. We're watching it in real time and we'll see what happens. That's why you almost have to let people touch the flame to get burned and have everybody stand around and look at their skin and see what happened. That's what I feel like is going on with New York right now.
Jen, people are screaming for socialized medicine in this country. Actually, basically, it's almost socialized medicine now. But when they realize that if they a lot of the times I hear the left come out, oh well, let's go like Canada's doing and let's have a unified or a universal health care. Those people that actually live in those suburban areas, they have to wait months for appointments. Now, I'm not saying, hey, every doctor's like this, but they're down to a point. If their child was diagnosed with cancer or something like that, they know in the Canada's health system that child will die. Do you know what they do? They wrap up their family and they drive over the border in Minnesota and they go to Hopkins University, the Mayo Clinic. They'll go to any one of these and they'll pay cash to get these services done for them because they know if they stand behind. Now, I'm not talking about all the populated areas where all the health systems are, all the money's funneled. I'm talking about all the outlying areas. I'm talking about like Kenora, Lake of the Woods. Anybody know Kenora? I've been in that emergency room twice, right? I had a problem. You know what they saw when the American walked in there? Holy shit, this is a price tag. He's got money written across his face. He's an American. Do you know how much money they charge my insurance to take care of an abscessed tooth? So you think, the people that are speaking don't have the education or the experience behind them to back any of it up. That's why I'm just sitting here thinking, Trump's doing Iran dirty. Whatever way that you want to spin it. What's the solution? Like, why don't they take the same energy and help us fight the fights that we're fighting in our own states? Why don't you take that same energy, come and help me in the Garden State in New Jersey, take that same attitude, and let's go at our state legislature. I would love for you guys to join in. You know what? That's what we need. So let's come in, desecrate the space. Let's talk about none of you are your Trump hopefuls, your MAGA-tards. It's just not the case, man. Let's put some real solutions on the table. And this particular community, we have the accolades on my chest. Please come in and tell me how to do it then. All right, Jen, go ahead.
I was going to say about the healthcare. So we went to England, the UK. Shoot, I would say about 10 years ago now. No, wait, it was 13. Yeah, about 10 years ago now. And my son had allergies because the place we were staying, they had a cat, and my son's allergic, so he needed to get an inhaler. So yeah, it was cheap to get the inhaler there, because we paid out of pocket, obviously. And so they were able to do a charge. And so it was cheaper. But the time that he had to sit there, he's like, no, mom, it was like twice as long as any time I've ever been into a doctor's office. And it was just a doctor's office. It was not like an ER room or anything else. But yeah, the medication was cheaper. But in England, most people buy additional insurance. They don't just depend, excuse me, on the insurance that they have. Because, sorry, currently, if you're on government insurance and you're over 70, they can decide to end your life. They can decide that your quality of life is no longer good, so now we can kill you. Same thing in Canada. You can kill yourself if you're just having a bad day. Unfortunately, a young man did that. He was going through his seasonal depression, and they offered him the option, and he took it. These people are private businesses that are doing this, and they are honing in on people who are ex-military, who are going to have, PT, SD, and they know that. And so they offer them, hey, here's an option if you want to take it, because they're paid for it. So, people who hold this up are not very experienced in what it is. You can have some people come in who don't have a lot of problems, health problems, or not older and not realizing where it's going with these universal health cares that are offered, and also how much you lose out of your paycheck, out of your everything for taxes, because it all has to be paid for somehow. As a person who has lived without insurance a good part of the last 3 decades, I can tell you that you can walk into doctor's offices and do a good faith payment for going into the office without insurance, and then decide with the doctor if the test is necessary or not, because you're going to be paying out of pocket. And, when the labs come back, they can charge you everything else if you decide on it. I'd hate to say that sometimes I feel like I have better discussions with doctors when I have to go in there now, being uninsured, than I would if I had insurance. It would just be an assumed that this is going to be covered. So I always tell people, I'm like, maybe go in and act like you don't have insurance, and then go in with your insurance after and see what your experience is.
You can't, right? So here's an example. My son had a head injury. I wanted the MRI done. I didn't give a shit what my healthcare said, whether or not I needed HMO or to get that child that MRI. And I called the imagery place to schedule an appointment. And they knew my name, and they knew that I had insurance, but I wanted to pay cash. They would not do that for me. If you have insurance, you are not able to pay cash to subvert the HMO. Basically what it is, because each one of those doctors get a cut out of your visit.
That's disgusting.
That's the truth. That happened to me. The lady said, well, unfortunately, sir, you have insurance. I cannot offer you a cash price. Yeah, you think it's one problem. That's why, man, so many energy that's taken, especially about people on this app. I think most of it is bait clicking, trying to get you to share their content. But at the end of the day, it's not useful. At the end of the day, I knew this years ago. This app right here, I don't know what's going on. There's a large split. The people that I thought were conservatives are not acting like conservatives. There's a lot of talk about the influencers on this app, changing narratives of spaces. And, I hear all of it. I try not to let it affect me. I think we do a good job of honing in on, hey, some important subjects. Having Mr. Smalls come up and kind of put a cap on that shit was even better, right? There's a guy that has a Canadian outlook. They get different news than we do, right? They have a different perspective because, hey, they're able to sit back. A lot of my friends are the same way. That man's rhetoric was exactly the rhetoric that I got out of a friend of mine. There is some kind of social media craze where they have them, oh, Trump's doing this, Trump's doing that. They're making the evidence look very convincing. These are Kevin O'Leary said it the other day. These are ops coming in. And I don't give a shit what you guys say. I know it to be true because you could see the evolution on this app and how bad they want to crush the narratives. And they send very educated people to come in here and pluck on your heartstrings and make you trust them. And all the information's great. But meanwhile, they're Nazis in the background, basically what it is. So you guys want to be fooled? Having your scouts out in these spaces and going in to try and just desecrate the spaces, that's what it's about. Okay, that's what you're watching on this app. So enjoy that the next time you're watching these clowns come in and destroy spaces. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, it's the disruptors, but it's also the grifters. You got to change to keep getting the money. You got to look to where people are clicking. And I get it. You want to get paid. You want to rise. You're trying to build a platform. I get it, but I don't have to respect you for doing so. You've lost the respect. I am the type of person that I will look at, are you walking the walk or are you just talking the talk? And it's very easy to gauge that when you're around people for long enough. Of course, this is the time when the guy decides to weed whack. But it's funny. I always try to end with a positive note of everything. And I have to say, as a Gen Xer, I am amazed at how many people have come around to being not as myopic with the things that they see and having more skepticism and distrust of things they thought were the authority and the people and the persons to listen to, and to gather information from neighbors and family members and other independent sources rather than just sit there and absorb and regurgitate. It's been a slower process than I'd like it to be, but it has been happening and it has been growing exponentially ever since COVID-19. Because it's very easy to see how we were lied to, how we were misled, how they played on people's fears, and then to look back and see how they've done it throughout history. And to see that even in this day and age, they were able to get away with it. It's shocking, and it shocked a lot of people out of their stupor. And that is fantastic. So, if you see somebody slowly waking up, give them grace, don't beat them down, and offer them information where they ask for it. And please do not just be judgmental. You may ask for an apology, though. I have done that with a couple people where I've said, this exactly.
Don't hold your
I
breath,
did.
okay?
No,
Don't
I
hold
got
your
it. I got it, Marlon. I got the apology. I said, listen, I'd love to talk with you about this, but respectfully, could you please apologize for the things that you've said in the past? And they said, you know what? I was literally going to apologize with my next message to you. I said, thank you. I appreciate that. I forgive you. Let's move forward. And it happened with two of the people. And the one person that I said, respectfully, I'd like an apology for the things that you've said about me in the past and about these things that now you're starting to ask about. And they just stopped messaging me. And I was like, whatever. But, hold their feet to the fire because people need to take accountability when it comes to that. It's part of growing up. It's part of growing as a person and walking in the footsteps of our Lord Jesus Christ. Own your shit, be accountable, and move forward and get good information. That's it.
Step up and own it. Okay. That's the only way you're going to feel better about yourself or whatever. I don't give a shit what you do. But you know, instead of coming in and giving me tear me down, give me some suggestions on maybe where I'm making mistakes, and I'll take them. I'm very good at taking the constructive criticism. I've taken it my entire life. If you don't take constructive criticism, well, then you're narrow-minded, and you know, yeah. Hey, look, you know, a lot of the subjects that these anti-Trump people are putting out there, maybe some of the shit's true. You know, do I realize that maybe Trump's setting his family up for long after he's out of the presidency? Probably. I wouldn't put it past him. You got to remember, man, I grew up with the guy. Most of you people didn't, right? I remember that guy in the 70s and 80s. I remember him sitting on whose couch was it? Oh, wait. Come on. I can't come up with her name. Come on. Come on.
Barbara Walters.
Well,
Baba Waho.
no, Oprah. So he's sitting, I can distinctly remember this back in the 80s, because Oprah was big then, right? We didn't know how much of a slime ball she really was then. But, you know, he sat on that couch, and he basically told everybody that he's an FBI informant. That's what he said back in the 80s. So, man, you know what I mean? Like you don't think maybe this guy, you know, again, I look at the confusion. I look at people the way they look at things, Palantir or BlackRock at the table. But unfortunately, you have to understand, if you're trying to put a cog in that machine, you have to have your enemy closer than your friend. And I think, man, he's been the ultimate troll. Wait. I'm saying wait. They don't have a solution. If they had a solution, I'd be all game for hearing it. But all I hear is the rhetoric. That's all I hear. Good.
Yeah, and it's just so funny, you know. You've got this thing where he made this deal with the IRS, and he, you know, whatever his businesses are not going to be, you know, because you know that as soon as his presidency is over, that would be the first thing they're going to go for. But let's not all forget, because that's what everybody is conveniently forgetting, that AutoPen signed a that what do you call it? Pre-pardon for his own son, so that he would never be prosecuted for all the crimes he did, So let's not forget that, and let's keep that in perspective.
How about the $750 he paid in tax? Right, that was a big deal. Remember when that came out? Everybody was hysteria. Oh, Trump's only paid $750 for tax that year. You know, that would be somebody that has no idea about business, right? You know, and that you prepay your tax. You guys know that businesses in this country prepay their payroll tax that these employers supply to you guys. I prepay from the last year's income. So when you hear this rhetoric out there, oh, Trump only paid $750, they didn't tell you that the year before he paid $38 million in payroll tax. Did you know that? Did you know that he got prorated for that? That's why it only cost him $750. You know why it cost him $750? Because that's exactly how much it costs to run an incorporation for a year. It's a standard flat tax. So Dan, they really don't know what they're talking about. Yeah,
Oh, I just wanted to speak to Trump with so the first presidency, and I've tried to find this video. So if somebody has it, please send me a link, DM me, or add it at the bottom of this pill and at me for the link to where Trump was getting on the helicopter, the Air Force One helicopter, and going to go sell weapons to I think it was Iran. Like, he's like, yeah, we're going to make a deal. We're going to make lots of money. We're going to sell weapons. And everyone standing there in the press corps was like gobsmacked with their jaws on the floor, because he is literally saying exactly what he's doing. Unlike other presidents that have gone before, hiding everything under multi-layers, it's all out on the surface. And it's all out on the surface for us to see that this is what's gone on before. So I don't besmirch Trump for whatever he's deciding to do. At least he's being honest about it, and he says it right to our faces. He doesn't try to hide it. He doesn't try to sugarcoat it. He literally just says the thing and does the thing. I would rather that than anything else. End of story. Like, please tell me you're gonna F me in the B. All right. Don't like
Again,
try
if
to
they're going to,
sugarcoat it.
if I was to make it attractive, and this has everything with this big beautiful in mind, right? If I knew it was attractive and I knew all this money was out there for these people just waiting to put their grubby hands on it, right? He knows about all the fictitious type projects for politicians and all this, right? If you knew this and you had all the hydras coming at you, wouldn't you lure them into your lair? Wouldn't you just let them feel comfortable and shit, man, maybe Trump is not the guy that we thought he. Oh yeah, hey, let's don't you think that shit's happening? I mean, on a larger scale, like an evil versus good thing. At the end of the day, that's what I feel like. So maybe everything is not as it seems, and anybody that has children or is grown up and is in the older crowd, it's never as it seems, But usually when there's smoke, there's fire. So you have to question. We're there to question, That's the worst part. Go ahead, Julie. We'll go to True Mag and we're going to wrap.
Yeah, just one more thing I wanted to add to what Jen was saying too, and about the taxing. Remember, I believe it was within his first debates when they were going after him about his tax returns and why won't he release them, and he's like, I'm doing the same thing that you guys are doing. I'm following the rules and the policies that you guys have made. If you want to, go ahead and change it. Like he basically told them, I'm paying this certain amount for this and this because these are the policies the politicians have set. So if you don't like it, change it. So he told them right to your face, and nobody seems to remember that. It's like, he's like, listen, I'm only doing what was on the books, what we were told we could do. So if you don't like it anymore, then change it.
He said that exactly when he closed up Trump Plaza, right? He turned around and said, this was probably, him getting out of Atlantic City was probably the most powerful move ever. He closed up 3 casinos down there. And when he did that, Atlantic City fell. That's what happened. Atlantic City's still in shambles. There's a couple of good casinos there, but that's about it. Why should I go to the casinos, pay for parking and $6 fuel when I can do it on my phone? Why?
It's a ghost town down there, Marlon.
Yeah. Well, hey, go ahead, True.
Yeah, I want to apologize to Julie and Truth. I think I fell for it and I said some stupid stuff and they had to get rid of me the other day. But I've been on your space so many times. I appreciate your spaces. So great to hear you, Marlon. And you just woke me up when you said operatives. That's so important. That's what we're falling for, because they got these high-paid, high-educated operatives, and think of the money that's backing them. And so that's why Trump has to get money to fight them. I mean, that's why I think he built up that fund and won, and Massey lost, because he knew he had to have that backup because they're coming against him. But anyway, yeah, I mean, all this stuff has just been, the space has been changing, and I'm wondering, you hit it right on there. Thank you.
Well, again, True, you know what? It's more of, hey, what I've experienced my entire life. Do I understand that Israel is not probably the U.S.'s friend after the trillions of dollars that we donated my entire life to that country? Yeah, I kind of catch the drift. Yeah, I saw the Hasidic Jews climbing out of the sewers in New York. Yeah, I saw all of it. So, but again, I just don't understand who's going to step up. It's the same kind of thing. You have people that go into these spaces and say, let's go take over our county and we need to assemble. And, yep, sounds great until you really got to install the 19 essential services in your county. Really understand the subcontractors and the way that those services work. You have no idea. Not probably 95% of Americans have no idea. So at the end of the day, they better sharpen their pencil. They want to come and tear me down. I'm ready. I'm ready. I can show them where they can be effective, right? And again, I'm not coding me around. I'm not saying, hey, Marlon's the best. I've never done that. But there are things that we've talked about and covered and lobbied in Washington about, and yeah, that shit's falling apart, huh? I mean, anybody that's known me from the very beginning, the East Coast wind is falling apart from the social pressure that we've put on it. I'm not saying just Marlin on X. I'm talking about every one of these communities understanding what was happening in our state. And that shit's falling apart. But here's the problem. The problem is these other states haven't been ingested yet. North Carolina, you are way on the list. Okay, that shit is happening. Those county committee people know exactly what's going on and how they're being paid off. South Carolina, Louisiana, Florida, they're all the same way. Any of those towns at that wind project or carbon capture or hydrogen production or ammonia production, or here's the best one, offshore mineral mining. It's just coming to every one of our states. So when they have a solution to go and combat this and start attacking it in the financial end, when we got to get smart. That's when we can beat it. When it goes to politics, it's already too far. Money's already changed hands. Contracts are filled. That's just super hard to shut down. I have no idea. Jeff, how you doing, man?
I was doing good until I got booted. Something I said?
Not at all. Never.
I just wanted to respond to Julie and what she was talking about with our president, Mr. Trump there. If everybody remembers right, where he was talking to everybody about his taxes, that was actually on the debate stage with Hillary Clinton. And he was telling her, I mean, giving her all kinds of H for her bringing up and trying to denounce him on his taxes. And he told her right straight out, right, you don't like it, change the laws. I'm following the law.
I remember that exact conversation, and that $750. People made a big deal about that. That they did not realize what businesses actually go through in this country, where you're prepaying your tax from last year's income, and you don't get prorated for that shit until the following year. So I got to pay on the. What if I did $300,000 more last year? I still got to pay the same amount of tax on that. This year, I don't get prorated for next year. So I got to get the money out of my pocket to do that because the IRS or your state is that far behind. Bullshit, man. The small business is against major hurdles in the country.
Good to see you back, Marlon. Missed you while you were gone, but the people that you had taking care of your space, Truth and Julie and Nika, all of them, they all did a fantastic job, brother.
Well, Jeff, I can't be prouder because hey, I needed the time. May is a tough month for me. So hey, I have to pay attention to some other things that maybe taking a little bit too much time out of it and sacrificing a little bit too much. I needed a correction. So and they helped me do it. So Jeff, and thanks. Any quick words before we kind of roll out here?
Mean I don't have to host tomorrow then, Marlon?
No more. You're through. We'll talk. I'm sorry, Truth. You're just the object. That's all. It's definitely with you. Anyway, I do appreciate everybody that came up and contributed today. Terry, Trumaga, American X, Joe, Jeff, Take Back, Truth, good to see you. Nika, thanks for coming up and co-host.
Absolutely, Marlon. I appreciate you having me. I'm just gonna do my normal. If you haven't already, please go down to the little purple bubble and like and share the space. We'd appreciate it. If you're on YouTube or Rumble, please go over and subscribe to our page over there. We would appreciate it. Marlon, thanks so much for having me up. It was great to be up here with you this time instead of Truth. Truth got a little bit of a break. I look forward to you being here more often, hopefully. But regardless, we will help fill in where we can.
Amen, sister. Thank you very much. And Truth, you're doing a great job, dude. Yeah, everybody came out and said that today, so no pun of you, dude. Julie, thanks. Blah, 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 blah. Julie, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me up here today. As usual, I won't say the same thing that Mika just said, which I usually say too, but that's okay. I'm glad to be here. I had to take a little bit of a break and just kind of go away for a little bit because had to get in the right headspace, and that's okay. We all need to do that once in a while. I appreciate everybody. This is a great space, a lot of good information. So please talk about it with your friends. Come in here again. Come in and contribute. Jeff, I meant to hit microphone and I removed you on accident. So that was me who did that. That was bad. See what happens when I don't
Right.
couple days. I get 2 strikes against me. I'm out again. So I'll just take a hiatus again. Sorry. God
strikes.
bless America. And thanks for everybody for coming in today.
Julie, it's all in good fun, man. Hey, I do appreciate everybody that came in today. Hey, check Truth out tomorrow. I got another day in the woods. But hey, hopefully you guys will come in and support it. And it looks like that you guys have already done that. So I thank you. There's definitely things coming up in our future, man. I can't wait, and I'm already a thorn in their side. Wait till I get on the local podcast. It's gonna hurt. I can't wait to do it. Yeah. Well, listen, God bless America. Have a great rest of your day. Maybe we'll catch you tomorrow, catch you Monday. Have a great weekend.